My college roommate Luna has a terrible memory. As the class representative for an elective course, she mistakenly recorded my score as 69 instead of 96 when inputting grades for the teacher. The teacher asked her to correct it, but she completely forgot. This caused my ranking to drop from first to third place in our major. The dorm supervisor announced an inspection for prohibited items the next day, but Luna forgot to put away her electric hot pot that very day. This led to our entire dorm being written up for a violation, and I lost my academic scholarship. Later, she secretly brought her drunk boyfriend back to the dorm and forgot to have him leave. As a result, our dorm became infamous overnight, and everyone's reputation was ruined. Afterward, Luna just looked at me with an innocent face and said, "Sorry, I didn't mean to, I just have a bad memory." I slapped her hard several times, and we ended up in a scuffle, which resulted in her pushing me down the stairs. Luna sobbed and said, "Serena, I'm sorry, I entered your score wrong." I raised my hand and slapped her. "If you're wrong, fix it, right now. I'm watching you correct it." When I opened my eyes again, I was sitting in front of the computer. On the screen was my elective course grade, 69 points, but I had previously seen the paper transcript at the elective teacher's office, and it showed 96 points. Stunned, I was wondering what to do next. Luna walked into the dormitory, humming a tune in high spirits. Luna is the class representative for this elective course, responsible for helping the teacher record grades. Just like in my previous life, I asked, "Luna, why did I only get a 69 in this elective course?" When I opened my eyes again, Luna's eyes widened in surprise. "No way, Serena, your grades are always so good." But I had no idea about this either. I rolled my eyes at her and immediately called our elective course teacher. "Professor Linda, this is Serena. I previously saw that my grade was a 96, but now the system shows it as a 69. It must have been a mistake when Luna entered the grades. Ask her to correct it. She should still be able to fix it for you now." I said to Luna, "Ms. Linda told you to help me change the grade." Luna glanced at the report card, walked over, and began speaking tearfully. "Serena, I'm sorry. It was my mistake entering your score." I raised my hand and slapped her. "If you're wrong, then fix it, right now. I'm watching you correct it." Luna was stunned by my sudden slap, standing there frozen with teary eyes. I've always been easygoing and never lost my temper with my roommate before, although sometimes she'd accidentally spray my expensive perfume on her friends, mistaking it for cheap cologne. Sometimes they'd borrow my homework to copy and accidentally ended up losing my notebook. Occasionally they'd mistakenly take my umbrella, leaving me to walk back to the dorm in the rain. I never once lost my temper. In my previous life, I just calmly asked her to correct my grade back, and she agreed without hesitation. After the deadline passed, they just said they forgot. This caused my GPA to drop from first to third in my major. She showed no remorse, claiming she just has a bad memory. Right now, Luna is crying with her face in her hands. Is it really worth getting so worked up? My memory's just terrible. I glanced at your score and completely blanked. That's why I entered it wrong. I couldn't help but laugh at her ridiculous expression. All right then, I'll watch you fix it right now, just in case your memory fails you again. Luna fidgeted awkwardly, dabbing at her runny nose with her lace sleeve while sniffling pitifully. "Serena, my laptop is still at the library. I'll go and fix it right away." I shook my head and gave an understanding smile. "No worries. Use mine." Then I pushed my laptop toward her, staring at her intently. Luna reluctantly logged into the grading system and changed my score. Just as Luna was about to log out, I grabbed her hand. "Wait, your score doesn't seem right either." Luna suddenly panicked at the sight. "No, I've double-checked it multiple times. There's definitely no mistake." With that, she logged out of the system, shoved the laptop back into my hands, grabbed her backpack in a fluster, and hurried out of the dorm. I clearly saw her record a 90 for herself, but she only scored a 70 on the test. I immediately texted Ms. Linda to tell her about Luna's mistake in recording the grade. That evening, as soon as Luna got home, she slammed her backpack on the floor and started yelling, "I just have a bad memory. I help that old lady as the class rep, and she still yells at me. This is so infuriating." Eva immediately rushed over to comfort Luna with concern. "Luna, what's wrong?" Luna sobbed. "I just accidentally entered the wrong grade, and Ms. Linda scolded me for it." Eva joined in and started criticizing Ms. Linda too. Luna stopped crying, stood up, and walked over to me. "Serena, this is all your fault. You just had to call Ms. Linda, and now I got scolded because of it. Are you happy now?" I chuckled. My grade was entered wrong. Isn't it only right to ask the teacher to fix it? Realizing she had no ground to stand on, Luna started crying again, her nose running. Why are you being so harsh? Eva strode over with an air of righteous indignation. Serena, why are you being so harsh on her? If Luna made a mistake with your registration, just ask her to fix it. Why go tattling to the teacher? Such a trivial matter, and you're getting Luna in trouble over it. With that, she shot me a glance and pulled Luna away. Luna, let's just ignore her. She thinks she's so great just because her grades are good. Lyra happened to walk in from outside. Hey. Check your scores. I just looked up my elective course grade and found an extra 10 points. Eva opened the system with a puzzled look, only to find an extra 5 points added to her score. Her face turned pale with realization. Luna, how many people's scores did you mess up? Luna panicked instantly, her eyes darting away nervously. I just have a bad memory. I didn't do it on purpose. Bad memory. I think you did that on purpose. I really thought I had failed. You almost made me retake the entire course. Eva's voice grew louder as she spoke, her face flushed with anger. When it happened to her, Eva suddenly wasn't so forgiving anymore. If I hadn't noticed it, they wouldn't have even realized their grades were recorded incorrectly. Later, when Eva asked around, she discovered that not only had Luna messed up our grades, but she'd also given extra points to the handsome guys and the ones from wealthy families in our class. She even docked points from the girls she'd badmouthed behind their backs. The more she disliked them, the more points she took off. To make amends, Luna offered to treat our whole dorm to bubble tea. I flat out turned down Luna's offer. With teary eyes and a whiny voice, Luna pleaded, "Darlings, I really didn't mean it. You can hit me. Scold me, but please don't give me the silent treatment." She then grabbed everyone's hands and made them hit her. When she approached me, Luna suddenly stopped, afraid that I might actually hit her again. I said calmly, "Do as you please. I've already had my turn." Lyra froze, her eyes filled with admiration. "Serena, how did you suddenly become so tough?" Eva's tone was laced with sarcasm. "Come on, I'm not that petty. I wouldn't hit my roommate over something so trivial." Luna immediately rushed to Eva's side. "Eva, you'll forgive me, right?" Eva said. "We've been roommates for a year." Since she's sincerely apologizing, let's forgive her. After all, we're the model dorm. Luna's always been a bit scatterbrained, probably just had a momentary lapse in judgment. Deep down, she's not a bad person. I just smiled and didn't say anything. Eva and Lyra accepted the milk tea from Luna. They both choked and spat it out the moment they took a sip. Because it was loaded with a lethal amount of sugar, they stared at the label in stunned silence. "My roommate has a sweet tooth. She'd take 100% sugar." The dorm group chat instantly blew up. "Eva, Luna, are you out of your mind? 100% sugar? I can't stand sweet stuff. Didn't I tell you to skip the sugar?" Lyra, "Yeah, I hate overly sweet things too. It's way too cloying." Luna, sobs, "I'm so sorry. I totally mixed things up. I could have sworn you both had the biggest sweet tooth. Ugh. I'm such a scatterbrain, my memory is the worst." Sniffles. "After the grade adjustment, I ended up ranking first in my program. As long as there are no disciplinary deductions, I'll receive the first-class academic scholarship this time. That's 6,000 yuan, based on my grades, too. Just like in my previous life." The dorm supervisor posted a notice in the dorm group chat in the evening. "Dormitory inspection for the entire building tomorrow, 9:00 a.m. 12:00 p.m., according to school policy. The punishment is collective. If any prohibited appliances are found, the entire dorm gets written up for violation. This results in immediate disqualification from awards and honors." Last time after we all left the dorm, Luna took out her electric pot and placed it on the table. When I got back, my world came crashing down. I lost my 3,000 yuan third-class academic scholarship, along with my AAA student and outstanding student leader titles. This time, I hesitated to leave the dorm. Seeing this, Luna scurried over to me with quick, small steps. "Serena, why haven't you gone to class yet? Don't feel like it. Aren't you skipping too?" Stumped by my retort, Luna instinctively lowered her gaze to the floor. "I'm about to head out now." Before leaving, they deliberately placed the electric pot on a chair tucked under the desk. Though not as obvious as being on the desk, it was still noticeable at a glance. After they left, I walked over and tossed their electric pot straight into the outside trash bin. When Luna returned to the dorm that evening, she looked puzzled to see our room hadn't been written up for any violations, rushed to confront the dorm supervisor. "Auntie, I forgot to put away my electric hot pot this morning. Why wasn't our dorm marked for a violation? Were you not thorough during inspection?" The supervisor looked exasperated. "I didn't see any hot pot. What violation are you talking about?" Luna dragged the supervisor back to our dorm and demanded she conduct a thorough search. She rummaged through her entire cabinet and searched every drawer, but couldn't find the electric pot. "Where's my electric pot? That's strange. I left it right here on the chair this morning," I asked with concern. "Luna, didn't you say your memory's been fuzzy lately? Are you sure you even bought a small pot?" Luna gradually stopped what she was doing. "I do have a small electric pot, you know. as she spoke. She started scrolling through her purchase history, but couldn't find it no matter how hard she looked. Of course she couldn't find it. That pot actually belonged to her classmate, which she'd absent-mindedly brought home. During our first class potluck, everyone brought small pots to secretly cook Odin in the classroom, and just like that, Luna came back with a small electric pot. The aunt was speechless, turned around, and left without a word. Luna slumped into her seat, looking dejected. I clearly remember putting it on the seat this morning. How could it be gone? Serena, you left late. Did you see it? I gave a warm smile and asked, why did you leave the pot on the seat this morning? Didn't Lyra specifically remind us about the dorm inspection today before she left? Luna shot me a glare, her eyes filled with the panic of being exposed. I just put it down while cleaning up and completely forgot to put it away. I made a point of telling you, and you forgot already. Getting written up means losing credits, and you have to pay to make up those credits. Are you going to cover that cost for everyone? This time, even Eva and Lyra didn't believe Luna, and they both started condemning her. Violations will result in deducted credits, which you'll have to make up by taking extra courses. Luna was willing to suffer significant losses herself just to inflict damage on her opponent. Tearfully, Luna video called her boyfriend. I got yelled at by my roommate today. Boo-hoo, it's all my fault, my memory's just terrible. A guy's deep voice came from the other side. Luna, who yelled at you? Show me. Luna then panned the camera over to show Eva and Lyra. Eva was changing clothes and let out a startled scream. Holy crap, Luna, what are you doing? I'm changing clothes. A low whistle came from the other side, and Eva shot a glare at Luna's phone. Lyra was sprawled out on the bed, scrolling through her phone. When the camera panned toward me, Luna hesitated for a moment. A low voice called out from over there. Luna, where's the other one? I remember that one was the prettiest. Luna's phone continued to scan over my face, and I raised my hand and slapped it away. Everyone was startled by the sound of the slap. Luna's phone fell to the ground. Serena, why are you hitting me again? Just thinking about how she used to secretly film me changing clothes to show her boyfriend makes me sick to my stomach. I've given her stern warnings multiple times, but she always says, I have a bad memory. I thought you didn't mind. I used to think since we're roommates and have to live together for 4 years, I should just suck it up and let it slide. It took a near-death experience for me to realize how important my breast health truly is. My face flushed with anger. This is a girl's dormitory, not your boyfriend's personal live stream. Seriously. Luna, get a grip. I'm changing clothes here. And you're filming the dorm for your boyfriend. Exactly. Have some respect for boundaries. Luna covered her face, sobbing uncontrollably. I didn't know you disliked this. I thought you all had great figures and enjoyed showing them off. 3. Ugh. What the hell? Is this really how an educated girl should think? Love showing off to her lame boyfriend. Smack. Another slap. Luna covered her face and stomped her foot in fury. Serena, I'm ignoring you now. You meanie, wah, you're bullying me. A deep, resonant voice kept calling Luna. Luna from the phone. Hearing her cry, I couldn't help but play music and sing along. What kind of rhythm is the coolest and the most groovy? What kind of singing brings the greatest joy? Eva and Lyra couldn't help but hum along. The dormitory gradually filled with songs and laughter. Luna ran out of the dormitory crying, clutching her phone. Soon, an unknown number called me. The voice on the other end was deep and gruff. Serena, did you bully Luna? Yes, I'm Serena, but I didn't bully her. I've added you on WeChat. Accept it quickly. I need to have a serious talk with you. Are you out of your mind? Get lost. I hung up right after saying that. Luna's boyfriend Jake is a total scumbag. He's dating Luna but hits on every attractive girl he meets, asking for their WeChat. He's tried adding me on WeChat 10 times before, and I turned him down every single time. Then he turned to Luna and said, I tried adding him on WeChat 10 times, and he rejected every single one. Luna stormed over and confronted me, demanding to know why I was trying to steal her boyfriend. After I hit her with solid proof, she started gaslighting herself instead. Jake said he only wanted to add you because he was worried he couldn't reach me. Whatever, it's not a big deal if you don't add him back. Luna finally came back at 8 in the evening. She was carrying a quilt with her. As soon as she got back, Luna started carefully folding the quilt. Someone sent a message in the grade group chat. What the hell? Who took my quilt I left out to dry? What am I supposed to cover myself with tonight? What kind of quilt? I'm feeling absolutely righteous right now. Luna probably dragged someone else's quilt back here, a blue floral quilt. That's the very quilt Luna brought back. I walked over, snapped a photo, and sent it to the group chat. I caught a glimpse of the message Luna sent to her boyfriend, and this quilt is actually made of silk. Luna saw me taking photos and confronted me loudly. Serena, what are you up to? I raised an eyebrow, my eyes filled with helplessness. Luna, is this your quilt? Why did you bring someone else's quilt back? Eva and Lyra also saw the message in the group chat, for, Eva said, someone in the group said it's someone else's quilt. I remember you didn't even go to air out your quilt this morning. Lyra, yeah, aren't you just a blanket? Luna, annoyed by our meddling, snapped, I did hang it out to air this morning. I just got mixed up. I'll go return it to her right now. With that, she grabbed the blanket and stormed out. When she came back, she was holding a smelly little throw. Look. I hung my blanket out to dry today. I just got mixed up. It wasn't intentional. You've wronged me. You owe me an apology. We couldn't hold back any longer and burst out laughing. It was a car rug. Luna glared at us with a hint of resentment in her eyes as we laughed. The instructor complained bitterly in the group chat. Who took the rug from my car? The dog peed on it, and I haven't had a chance to wash it yet. I can't believe this idiot, since there was dog pee. We just let Luna be and allowed her to keep the little blanket. That night, she laid the blanket on her bed but tossed and turned, unable to sleep, then suddenly sat up. Who wet the bed? It reeks. I can't stand it. No one responded. Luna got up and came over to our bed, reaching out to flip through my mattress to check each one, but I scolded her and sent her away. The smell of urine is coming from your side. No way. I stopped wetting the bed when I was 10. One of you must have done it. Luna picked up her phone, ready to vent to her boyfriend, when she suddenly saw the group message. Only then did I realize it was dog pee. I tossed the blanket off the balcony in disgust and stopped making a fuss. I just felt bad for the advisor's dog. Without its blanket, it had nowhere to pee and nearly became depressed. Soon enough, I received all my honors, Academic Excellence Award, AAA student, Outstanding Student Leader, and more. Seeing this, Luna bounced over to me and said, Serena, I'd love to take a look at your certificate. Once she had it in her hands, Luna pushed her luck further. Could I borrow it for a few hours? I want to take some photos for my social media. It'll look really impressive. In my past life, she pulled the same trick and borrowed my 680-point CT6 score report to show off online. Then that evening, back in the dorm, she claimed she couldn't remember where she'd put the score report after taking the photos. I lost my transcript and can't get a replacement. This time, without a word, I snatched it right away. No way, I can't stand anything fake. Luna was startled, her eyes welling up with tears. I didn't mean anything by it. I just wanted to keep it as a memento. Her good friend Yvonne happened to pass by and started defending Luna. What's the big deal about lending it for a quick photo? Why so stingy? Yvonne came in third in the class this time. Why do you need to use mine for a keepsake? You should use Yvonne's. Isn't she your bestie? Luna turned her head, her eyes red, and looked at Yvonne. Yvonne suddenly felt a pang of panic. Though she and Luna were friends in name, she knew exactly what kind of person Luna was. I only came in third place. After saying that, she slung her backpack over her shoulder and turned to leave, but I reached out and stopped her. Third place is still impressive, and you also won the Arts Award. That suits Luna's vibe much better. You're not trying to avoid lending it to her, are you? Luna's eyes lit up with excitement as she fixed an intense gaze on Yvonne. I continued to stir the pot. Aren't you two supposed to be best friends? Luna chimed in. Yvonne, just let me take a quick photo with it. I'll give it back tonight. Yvonne felt cornered and reluctantly pulled out the certificate. It was just handed to Luna, then quickly snatched back. Luna, maybe I should take the photo for you. Luna grabbed it away. Your photos are terrible. No way I'm letting you take it. I'll have my boyfriend do it. Luna skipped away, holding her certificate. Yvonne shot me a dirty look, and I just smiled, slung my backpack over my shoulder, and walked away. When I got back that evening, only one of the 2 certificates of honor was left. Sure enough, Luna had forgotten to bring the certificate for the Arts Award. Yvonne stormed into our dorm, her face flushed red, and confronted Luna. Luna, where did you put my certificate? I needed to register for the competition later, Luna said in a whiny voice. Yvonne, I'm sorry, my memory is terrible. I really can't remember where I left it. Yvonne didn't believe her and started rummaging through Luna's backpack, but found nothing. She could only crouch on the dorm floor and cry in despair. After a while, she suddenly remembered something, ran up to me, and started shamelessly blaming me. Serena, this is all your fault. If you had just lent it to Luna, my certificate wouldn't have gone missing. I chuckled lightly. How could it possibly be lost? There are security cameras everywhere these days. Yvonne's eyes widened with a glimmer of hope, and she rushed to the surveillance room that very night to check the footage. It was Luna who had folded the Arts Award certificate and stuffed it into her pocket before walking away with it. By the time Yvonne came back to find Luna, her award certificate was already lying in Luna's trash can. I'm sorry, Yvonne, I didn't remember your award was in my pocket. I thought it was scrap paper, so I tore it up and threw it away. The two of them had a complete falling out. Yvonne dragged Luna on social media for a whole month, posting different captions every day to criticize her. They kept posting on the confession wall to badmouth Luna. Luna just innocently replied below, "I just have a bad memory, I didn't mean to." A few days later, I made it to the National College English competition. I bought a formal suit specifically for the competition. In my previous life, while I was studying at the library, Luna used my white shirt to clean the toilet. Claiming she mistook it for a rag, she didn't remember I had bought new clothes. My white shirt was clearly hanging on the balcony to dry, and it was brand new. How could it possibly look like a rag? Later, with no time to buy a new one, I had to hastily wear a white t-shirt underneath and rush through the competition. This time, I deliberately hung a very expensive white shirt on the balcony, grabbed my backpack, and headed to the library. When I got back to the dorm, Luna was scrubbing the inside of the toilet with my white shirt. She was jabbing the toilet brush against my shirt, using it to scrape off the yellowish-black grime around the toilet rim. Seeing me return, Luna said triumphantly, "Serena, I thought the toilet was dirty today, so I wiped it down with a rag. Look how clean it is now." I nodded, and a triumphant smirk spread across Luna's face. I walked out to the balcony and feigned shock as I spoke. "Luna, have you seen my white shirt? I need it for the competition tomorrow." Luna shook her head. "Nope, all I saw on the balcony was a rag." My eyes widened as I stared at the shirt stained with yellow marks. "This is my shirt." Luna wore a smug look. "Sorry, Serena, I didn't realize you bought new clothes. I thought it was a rag and tossed it on the balcony floor. What are you going to do about tomorrow's competition? Will it affect you?" I sat down at my seat with a stern expression. Luna kept rambling on. I sent the order screenshot to Luna. "That shirt costs 5,000 yuan. Luna suddenly got a bit nervous. "Serena, your shirt is that expensive?" Luna was so frightened that she burst into tears. Someone must have put her up to it, because she suddenly stopped and insisted it was my shirt that had fallen on the floor. She only used the shirt as a rag because of my carelessness. Her only mistake was being too diligent and cleanliness obsessed. Luna tried to play it cool while pointing fingers at me. "I'm not upset." I pulled up a video and showed it to her. In the video, Luna waited until I left, then sneaked onto the balcony, took down my hanging shirt, and stomped on it twice, muttering under her breath, "Let's see how you compete in the contest now." Then he kicked my shirt into the dorm room. Watching the video, Luna finally broke down and burst into sobs. "Serena, I'm so sorry. I had no idea the shirt was this expensive." I asked coldly, "So it would be okay to treat my clothes like that if they were cheap? That shirt cost over 5,000. Pay me back within 3 days, or I'll have the police on you." Luna's eyes were red, but I caught a flicker of murderous intent in her gaze. The next day, I competed in my backup outfit and ended up winning the championship. When I got back to the dorm, I overheard Luna on the phone with Jake, asking to borrow money. "After all I've spent on you before, the least you could do is lend me 1,000. Luna, I'm really broke lately. I found a way to make money online. Want me to share it with you?" "What is it?" "You can get a loan just by taking a photo. You can pay it back once you get your allowance from your parents." 5. Luna took out a 10,000 yuan online loan using compromising photos as collateral, repaid me 5,000, and used the other 5,000 to buy Jake a birthday gift. During those days, Jake kept calling her non-stop, always using a husky, intimate tone when saying her name. On Jake's birthday, Luna went out drinking with him. In my previous life, it all happened that very night. Luna brought a drunk Jake back to our dorm. I invited both Eva and Lyra out in the evening. I only let the two of them head back to the dorm when the time felt right. I intentionally recorded a video of the three of us having dinner together, and we walked back to the dorm singing songs all the way. In the video, we opened the door and caught a strong whiff of alcohol. There was someone lying on Luna's bed, all bundled up in the blanket. You couldn't really tell who it was without a closer look. In our previous life, it was after we'd fallen asleep that Luna sneaked Jake into the dorm wrapped in a blanket. I casually asked, "Luna, have you been drinking?" Luna chimed in, "Oh, yeah, it's Jake's birthday, so we had a few drinks to celebrate." Eva asked, "Why aren't the lights on?" "No need. I'm just going to change and go to bed. You guys should get some sleep too." Soon after, we heard Luna's soft murmuring but paid no mind, drifting back to sleep in no time. When we woke up the next morning, a shirtless Jake was standing in the middle of the dorm. He was leering at us while circling around, wearing a creepy grin on his face. Lyra let out a scream. A crowd gathered around before we realized there was a guy in our dorm. Luna rushed over from Yvonne's room looking apologetic. "Hey everyone, I'm so sorry. My boyfriend got drunk last night and couldn't make it back to his campus. I meant to sneak him out early this morning, but I totally forgot and slept right through. It's all my fault. My memory's terrible. I can't believe I forgot something this important," Luna said, tears welling up in her eyes with sadness. Jake immediately stepped forward and pulled Luna into an embrace, saying, "Luna, don't cry. I didn't do anything to them. What's the big deal about just sharing a dorm room for one night? Luna suddenly stopped crying, nodded with a smile. My boyfriend wouldn't give any of you the time of day either, so don't get your hopes up. I'm sending him away right now. With that, she made to leave with Jake. Eva darted over and blocked the doorway. I walked over, grabbed Luna by the hair, and slapped her hard across the face several times. Then I got into a physical altercation with Luna. Jake tried to step in and help, but Eva and Lyra held him back. The three of them started hurling insults at each other. Amid the scuffle, Luna grabbed a flower pot from the balcony and swung it at my head, taking advantage of my dizziness. They pushed me down the stairs, watching me fall. Luna smirked triumphantly. Who told you to stand out so much? So what if you're rich and smart? You're still going to die. In my final moments, my heart was filled with hatred. I will avenge this, and I'll make them pay double. Eva and Lyra tried to speak, but I stopped them. I approached with my phone and had Eva turn on the light. The blanket kept shifting, and Luna's heavy breathing could be heard from underneath. It took a while before the two under the covers realized someone had entered. Luna poked her head out, clearly revealing another person lying beside her. You're not in the dorm. I thought all three of you were already asleep. I smirked. What's this next to you? You're not hiding someone, are you? The school doesn't allow bringing friends to stay in the dorm. Luna smoothed her hair. Of course not. It's just a plush toy I bought. Right after she said that, Eva walked over and pulled back the blanket. Jake was lying there shirtless. Eva was startled. Holy crap, it's a guy. My phone immediately zoomed in, capturing Luna and Jake clearly. Luna let out a scream. Eva, why are you pulling off someone's blanket? You. Put your phone down, Eva gasped, covering her mouth. Didn't you used to pull my covers off all the time? I never got mad at you. Luna, flustered and furious, hurriedly put on her clothes and tried to pull Jake away to leave. Eva, Lyra and I exchanged a glance, then immediately backed out of the dorm and locked the door. The counselor and grade director rushed over overnight, and a large crowd of curious students had already gathered around. I quickly showed the video I had taken to the counselor and the director, and they were so furious they almost had a meltdown. Luna was required to take a leave of absence for privately bringing an outside male student into the school and even into the girls' dormitory. To appease the three of us, the school arranged for us to move into single rooms with private bathrooms. The three of us had the option to be directly recommended for postgraduate studies at our university. Eva and Lyra accepted, but I declined because I had long wanted to leave this place. A few days later, a classmate forwarded several photos of Luna to the grade group chat. They were photos of Luna holding her ID card while naked. Rumor has it that Luna's photos were leaked online because she defaulted on a loan. Seeing this, Jake immediately kicked Luna. Jake's school is terrible and doesn't care about students' lives, so this incident had no real impact on him. Jake continued to live his carefree campus life. When Luna begged Jake to take her back for the 10th time, he bluntly said, "You're an embarrassment, stay away from me, my girlfriend wouldn't like it." Luna finally managed to lure Jake out by bringing an expensive breakup gift for him. Upon meeting Jake, Luna stabbed him in the heart with a knife. It was a fatal blow. The news was quickly suppressed by the school. Before being taken away, Luna tearfully said to the camera, "Why is fate so unfair? My roommate is beautiful, smart, and comes from a wealthy family, while I'm just average, and even my boyfriend turned out to be a jerk. If there's a next life, I'll make sure everyone pays." 2 months later, Luna was executed. I've already received an acceptance letter from a university abroad and am preparing to continue my undergraduate studies overseas. Eva and Lyra can comfortably coast along, as long as they pass their courses. They'll be directly admitted to graduate school later. Just when I thought I could finally start a brand new life. 6. I opened my eyes. Luna said tearfully, "Serena, I'm so sorry. I entered your score wrong." As she spoke, Luna suddenly broke into a smile. Watching the scene unfold, my heart suddenly clenched. The end. Story 2. I am the little princess of the Phoenix clan, yet I fell in love with a mongrel fox. He wasn't worthy to be the Phoenix clan's spirit pet, but I defied all opposition to form a contract with him. To even help him ascend to the throne as Fox King, I split my heart in half for him and used my inner core to refine his bloodline. Yet during our intimate moments, he ruthlessly shattered my soul, saying, "Only with your death can I be with Tamsin." Only then did I realize he had long fallen in love with my more noble sister, who had been infected as an imperial princess. When I woke again, I saw the fox prostrating at my sister's feet, begging her to take him as a beast pet in this world. The only one who could help a mongrel fox like him rise up is me, the god of war who fought my way out of mountains of corpses and seas of blood. Isla, are you really going to keep this fox? My ice-cold body suddenly regained warmth. As I opened my eyes, a desolate wilderness stretched before me. Following my father's stern gaze, I saw a wounded fox with patchy fur lying on the ground. I froze momentarily, then was overcome with wild joy. I had actually returned to the very day I found that scruffy fox. I laughed. Father asked me again if I really wanted to keep a low-bred mongrel fox. A thought crossed my mind as I lazily replied, I do. Father sighed helplessly. Fine, keep it if you wish. Hearing our conversation, the dying mongrel fox flashed a look of disgust in its eyes. He transformed into a handsome man with rosy lips, pearly teeth, and jet-black hair cascading over his shoulders, struggling. He crawled on his knees to his sister's feet, gazing at her with deep affection. Laszlo only wishes to follow the mightiest being under heaven. Princess Tamsin is gifted by nature and diligent in cultivation. She will surely rise like a phoenix one day. Laszlo is willing to follow Princess Tamsin. I beg the imperial princess to take me in. The elder sister's eyes widened with evident delight. The others were stunned by Laszlo's actions. I am the most noble princess of the Phoenix clan, born a phoenix. But elder sister's true form is merely a golden pheasant spirit. Laszlo actually dared to flatter a golden pheasant spirit right before the phoenix. I curled the corner of my lips playfully. As expected, Laszlo has also been reborn. In her past life, elder sister indeed transformed from a golden pheasant spirit into a phoenix through nirvana. It was precisely because he knew this that he begged elder sister to take him in. Father flew into a rage. How dare you? A lowly fox of impure blood dares to set his sights on my daughter. I understand why father was angry. He had long found a pure-blooded azure dragon as a spirit pet for elder sister. Father's eyes were filled with killing intent as he swung his sword, but it was blocked by elder sister. The elder sister spread her arms, shielding Laszlo behind her. Father, Laszlo has awakened spiritual intelligence and taken human form. Killing him would create karmic sin. As she spoke, she stroked Laszlo's head, casting a challenging and triumphant look at me. Father, let me keep him. The father flatly refused. This is what Isla chose. Isla, form a contract with this fox. The sister pouted and stomped her foot in frustration. Dad, how could you be so biased towards my sister? Biased towards me? Spiritual pets are extremely important to their masters. A good spiritual pet can transfer its cultivation to its master after forming a contract, aiding the master's training. Father clearly despised Laszlo's lowly lineage. It made me form a contract with him. A dull ache throbbed in my heart. Laszlo panicked. He grabbed his sister's sleeve, insisting on following her. He said affectionately, Tamsin, as long as you make a contract with me and heal my wounds, I'll give you 300 years of cultivation. I don't want to lose you. 300 years of cultivation could significantly advance sister's power. In my past life, I never thought of taking Laszlo's cultivation. He was shot in the heart, and to keep him alive, I even gave him half of my own heart. Sadly, my sacrifice didn't earn me even a shred of his gratitude. The whole clan knows I treasure that mangy fox I picked up from the wasteland, but that fox is so proud. It won't even give me a smile. Look at him now, Laszlo kneeling before his sister, pleading with such deep affection. Bearing no resemblance to his former self, Laszlo's so-called arrogance was nothing but his disdain for me. I laughed at myself mockingly. My sister laughed too. Laszlo rejected me and chose her, which made her very smug. Besides, she also wanted those 300 years of cultivation. Sister wants to form a contract with Laszlo, father angrily said. It's just 300 years of cultivation. Other spirit pets can give you that too. The elder sister's eyes immediately reddened. Why can she keep it but I can't? The elder sister began sobbing with tears falling. The father suppressed his anger and gently coaxed the elder sister. I watched quietly, my heart already numb with pain. My father had never shown such tenderness in front of me before. When I acted spoiled or troubled with him, he would only scold me harshly and punish me by making me face the wall. How can a loving father resist his children? In the end, father conceded defeat. Fine, keep it if you want. My sister joyfully formed a contract with Laszlo. Then, she turned to me with pleading eyes. Little sister, Laszlo's heart is severely injured. Could you heal him? You know, my true form is just a golden pheasant, not like you who is born a phoenix. I wish I could give my heart to Laszlo, but how could a golden pheasant's heart compare to a phoenix's? Too, Laszlo mutely nuzzled against his sister's palm, casting hopeful glances at me in secret. Doesn't want to be with me, yet still desires half of my heart. Laszlo really dares to dream big. Father also advised me, Isla, you're so capable, losing half a heart won't matter. Father said these words lightly. I wasn't the least bit surprised. I know my father never loved me. He nurtured me and provided resources only because my mother was the only one in this world who achieved ascension. With my mother as my backing, he dared not deprive me of resources. He took a different approach, throwing me, just come of age, into the perilous battlefield of the demon war. My prowess was earned through bloody battles amidst mountains of corpses. I crossed my arms and said leisurely, "Didn't that mangy fox just say my sister has great talent, practices diligently, and is destined to be reborn as a phoenix? With all your power, sister, you can't even raise a spirit pet properly." "Father, my sister isn't wrong. You truly are biased. You raised me to be so capable, yet made my sister so incompetent. What a waste of my sister's natural talents." A flash of resentment toward their father crossed the sister's eyes as she shamefully covered her face. The father's expression darkened. "Isla, as your father, I command you to give half of your heart to heal Laszlo." I shook my head calmly. "Whoever raised the spirit pet should be the one to heal it. In this lifetime, no one will ever get me to give up half of my heart again, since Laszlo chose my sister. His life or death is no longer my concern." My refusal caused the pent-up anger in my father's eyes to erupt completely. "Ungrateful daughter." Father struck out with a palm strike. I leaped backward, a streak of blood appearing on my face from the violent palm strike. Father frowned. He didn't expect that using half his strength would still allow me to dodge. Sister's eyes filled with jealousy as she let out a regretful sigh. "The golden pheasant is indeed inferior to the phoenix." Father's expression suddenly darkened. Father was once a golden pheasant spirit too. With mother's help, he refined his bloodline, underwent nirvana to become a phoenix, and became the king of the Phoenix clan. When I first contracted Laszlo, I tempered his bloodline and made him the Fox King, following my mother's example. Who would have thought that as soon as Laszlo ascended to the throne, he immediately turned his blade against me. During our intimate moments, he took advantage of my guard being down and shattered my soul. Laszlo hated me for blocking his path to love and be with Tamsin. This time, I didn't stand in his way, yet he still hated me. He hated me for not healing his wounds. "Isla, you really are a heartless and cruel woman." Thank goodness I chose Tamsin. The older sister moved, hugged Laszlo tightly. "Father, please find a way to save Laszlo. Without Isla, can we really not save anyone?" Father gave me a deep look and ordered someone to bring the 9 Revolutions golden elixir. "This is the divine medicine left by mother. The Phoenix clan possesses only one of these. For elder sister's sake, father gave it to Laszlo." The 9 Revolutions golden elixir worked remarkably, and Laszlo recovered from his injuries swiftly. True to his promise, he transferred 3 centuries of cultivation to his elder sister. The elder sister suddenly felt a surge of pride and vindication. At this moment, the Fox King who had been waiting nearby stepped forward. "Phoenix King, may we now proceed with refining the bloodline for the Fox clan?" Laszlo immediately gazed at his sister with fanatical fervor in his eyes. His excitement stemmed from the fact that the Tamsin clan had come at the Fox tribe's invitation today. The Fox King's lifespan was nearing its end, and he had no heirs. He requested the Phoenix tribe to refine the bloodlines of the Fox tribe's members, so as to select the next Fox King. Father nodded. "Of course you may, naturally." Father had sister make the first move. He wouldn't permit sister's spirit beast to be just an ordinary mongrel fox. Sister gave me a challenging glance and summoned her immortal brush. "Draw a purifying bloodline rune in midair." Then, the rune bursts apart, scattering like starlight that slowly drifts down. "So beautiful," she smiled with confident composure. Suddenly, the divine brush shattered, and spiritual energy ran wild. Laszlo was sent flying backward by the impact, spitting out a mouthful of blood. Having given his sister 300 years of cultivation, Laszlo had little left of his own. Unable to withstand the power of the shattered divine brush, his body reverted to its original form, with only his head remaining in human shape. However, his jet-black hair turned dull yellow and coarse, while his fair skin became spotted. Laszlo coughed up blood in agony, begging his sister to return the 300 years of cultivation to him first. His fox paws reached out to embrace his sister, only to be kicked away. His sister scolded in disgust. "Get away, useless ugly creature." Laszlo stared at his sister in disbelief. He tried to forcibly reclaim his cultivation, but his sister mercilessly slipped a beast-taming collar around his neck. Laszlo curled up in pain, looking at me pleadingly. I didn't even acknowledge him. "Oh, weren't you rushing to be the sister's pet, just putting on a collar? Bear with it," the Fox King coldly demanded. "Phoenix King, Tamsin doesn't know how to refine bloodlines at all. By sending her out, are you mocking my Fox clan?" The atmosphere grew tense in an instant. Cold sweat covered the father's forehead. The bloodline tempering technique can only be learned by women. He thought his elder sister had already mastered it. I straightened my sleeves and said, "Let me handle this." With a light wave of my hand, the golden light from my palm merged into the body of a newly awakened, yet unshaped yellow-furred fox. Instantly, a mist of blood erupted from the little fox's body. My sister jumped up and shouted, "Little sister, you're pretending to know what you don't. Did you just harm someone?" The father roared in anger, "You wicked girl, how dare you harm others without reason?" The pent-up fury finally found its outlet, with all his might. He condensed his spiritual power into a giant sword and swung it fiercely. 3. A brilliant light suddenly radiated from my body as a long spear materialized before me. The blood-stained, mottled spear tip brims with boundless killing intent, shattered Father's spiritual energy greatsword. Father was sent staggering backward, clutching his chest while staring at the spear in horror. Sister and Laszlo also wore expressions of utter astonishment. The Fox King exclaimed in shock, "It's the God of War spear. Princess Isla of the Phoenix clan is actually the god of war." He knelt on one knee and saluted me. The others quickly followed his lead and knelt down. Laszlo looked astonished. He never expected me to be the god of war who made demons tremble on the battlefield. "Isla, you never told me about this," he complained to me with a grievance. I responded with a cold sneer, "My body is covered in scars." It's not like he hasn't seen them. Had he shown the slightest concern, I would have told him. Father muttered in disbelief, how could you be the god of war?" I curled my lips in a mocking tone. "Thanks to you. It was you who personally sent me to the battlefield." My sister knelt on the ground, her face filled with resentment. She shot a resentful glance at our father. She truly believed that Father was nurturing me with all his heart. My elder sister pointed at the fox shrouded in bloody mist, earnestly advising me, "Isla, even as the god of war, you cannot harm people at will." I didn't even glance at her. Signaling everyone to rise, I said to the Fox King, "The bloodline refinement is complete." As if to confirm my words, the blood mist surrounding the fox suddenly faded. The fox's yellow fur rapidly turned red at a visible pace, becoming a red fox. The red fox is the royal bloodline of the Fox clan. I frowned and retorted to my sister, "Can't you tell whether his bloodline refinement succeeded? Have you been diligently studying the bloodline refinement technique?" My sister opened her mouth but stammered, unable to speak. A red light flashed as the crimson fox transformed, dressed in red robes, with a tall and slender figure, fair skin, and alluring lips. Her fox-like eyes were utterly captivating. The red fox knelt in greeting. "Orson the fox pays respects to war goddess Isla." I gave a slight nod. Seeing this, the Fox King was overjoyed and immediately moved to appoint Orson as his heir. Unexpectedly, Orson refused without hesitation. He insisted on following me. "Orson owes a great debt to war goddess Isla and is willing to serve by her side for life." Before I could say anything, the Fox King was the first to object. "Besides the Fox King, Orson is the only red fox in the Fox clan. If he follows me, the Fox clan will lose its heir." I signaled the Fox King to keep calm, then turned to examine Orson. "Do you really want to follow me?" Orson nodded firmly. At this moment, his eyes were only on me. I suddenly realized he could completely belong to me. I curled my lips into a smile. "All right, I'll take you." Orson's eyes sparkled with radiant joy. He quickly stood behind me, afraid that if he was a step too slow, I would abandon him. Father put on his stern face again and scolded me. "Isla, how could you take the future Fox King as your spirit pet?" Orson tugged at my sleeve and said urgently, "Master, Orson doesn't want to be the Fox King. Orson only wants to be your spirit pet." I patted his hand soothingly. "Fox King, the Fox tribe can have other red foxes. I intend to pass the bloodline tempering method to the Fox King. When my mother created the spell, she intended to pass it on to all clans. It was the father who secretly obstructed and took it for himself." The Fox King was overjoyed. Under my father's displeased gaze, I taught the magic to the Fox King. The Fox King kept thanking me. But Laszlo suddenly turned hostile. He completely transformed into his true fox form, baring his sharp claws to shred the taming collar around his neck. Then, he pounced at his sister. Laszlo's gaze was fierce. "Give my cultivation back to me." The sister turned pale with fright, screaming in terror, "Ah, Laszlo, as a spirit beast, how dare you rebel against your superior?" I raised my eyebrows slightly, not at all surprised. Laszlo is inherently a selfish person at heart. He saw through his sister's true nature and no longer wanted to be her spirit pet. The Fox King has already mastered the art of bloodline refinement. If Laszlo can regain his cultivation, he can break the spirit pet contract with his sister. He begged the Fox King to refine his bloodline for him, still holding hope to reclaim the Fox King's throne. Thus, ignoring his sister's agonized cries, his front claws unhesitatingly plunged into her dantian. In moments, his sister's life-bound golden core would fall into his grasp. The father was startled and swiftly intervened. A sword slash was unleashed. Unexpectedly, the sister happened to struggle at that moment, and the sword strike landed directly on her vital golden core. Crack! The vital golden core was shattered. The sister let out a scream, her life hanging by a thread. Laszlo's face turned pale as he tried to flee, but was restrained by his father, for the father carefully picked up his sister, Tamsin. He desperately channeled spiritual energy to his sister without regard for his own life, but the natal golden core is shattered, and the spiritual energy father gave to sister can barely sustain her vitality. Father pleaded with me in panic, "Isla, quickly save Tamsin. She is your sister. You can't stand by and watch her die." Sister also weakly begged, "Little sister, I beg you, save me, for my sister's sake." Father spoke softly to me for the first time. I wasn't happy at all. On the contrary, I felt so miserable that my eyes grew moist. Suppressing the ache in my heart, I said, "Only one thing can save sister." Father and older sister looked over expectantly. I slowly uttered 4 words, 9 revolutions golden elixir. "The only thing that can save my sister is the divine medicine left by my mother, the 9 revolutions golden elixir." Both of them froze in place. I shook my head regretfully. What a pity, the 9 revolutions golden elixir has already been consumed by Laszlo, its medicinal potency now fused with his flesh and blood. However, if Laszlo were to bleed daily for my sister to drink, spending 8 to 10 centuries, my sister's injuries could be completely healed. Merely the injuries would be healed, that's all, no longer able to cultivate and form a golden core, a useless person for life. Father and sister turned their heads in unison, their bloodthirsty gazes falling upon Laszlo. Laszlo scrambled backward on all 4s, only to have his arm seized by his father. He slit Laszlo's wrist and drew a bowl of blood for his sister. Sister's vitality has indeed stabilized. Father relaxed slightly, fearing Laszlo might escape again, so he put a sturdier beast-taming collar on Laszlo. Laszlo glared at me resentfully. "Isla, you deliberately set me up," I said indifferently. "You took the 9 revolutions golden core willingly. And it was you who dug out your sister's life core to regain your cultivation. What does it have to do with me?" Laszlo froze, his head drooping. Father brought sister and Laszlo back to the Phoenix Manor. Having nothing better to do, I naturally went back to watch the commotion. The Fox King personally escorted us back, speaking to Father with a half-smile. "Phoenix King, you are such a devoted father, raising Isla so well. One day, she will surely ascend to immortality," though it sounds like flattery. It's actually sarcasm, mocking her father. The sister who was truly nurtured with care turned out worthless. The daughter who wasn't properly raised instead became a war goddess. Father's face darkened. Sister's expression twisted as she secretly glared at me. Orson stepped in front of me and glared back at her unapologetically. Amused, I patted Orson's hand. He instantly became docile. Seeing this, the elder sister immediately slapped Laszlo. "Who are you showing that long face to?" Laszlo had no choice but to force a smile. His sister once again despised his ugly smile. In the end, Laszlo lowered his head in humiliation, allowing his sister to scold and hit him. After returning to the mansion, Laszlo's life became even more miserable. When they saw him again, he had gained several pounds, and his clothes were stretched to the point of bursting. Gaining weight doesn't mean he's doing well, rather, his sister needed his blood to sustain her life, and their father, fearing he might die from daily blood loss, force-fed him tonics all day long. Just as mortals raise pigs, so did his father raise him. His sister, on the other hand, was frighteningly thin, her face was sallow, and her clothes hung loosely on her frame like a skeleton. Compared to me, she looked like an old woman in her twilight years. My sister regarded me with both hatred and fear, her eyes betraying obvious inferiority. "Isla, are you happy to see me reduced to this state?" I didn't hide my emotions, letting out a derisive laugh. It was quite satisfying. Thought they could steal the spirit beast I had my eye on, only to shatter their golden core and lose all their cultivation. Sister's face turned pale, then flushed with anger as she spun around in resentment. She untied the beast-taming whip from her waist and lashed Laszlo fiercely with it. "It's all your fault. For a lowly yellow-furred fox to become my spirit pet is a blessing you've earned over 8 lifetimes. How dare you injure me?" My sister vented her hatred for me onto Laszlo as well. Laszlo was thrashed so badly he writhed on the ground. She gave Laszlo a vicious beating, then stormed off in a huff. Laszlo lay sprawled on the ground, staring blankly at the sky without moving for what felt like ages. I watched him quietly. Moments later, Laszlo struggled to get up. "Isla, I know I was wrong. I know you've been reborn too. For the sake of our past relationship, please save me, okay?" He reached up to grab my leg. Orson kicked him away with one foot. "You're not worthy to touch Isla," Laszlo retorted. "She chose me first." I couldn't help but laugh. "What if I choose you? Our bond was exhausted the moment you killed me. I'm willing to elevate you. You're the Fox King. If I ignore you, what worth do you even have?" "Laszlo, don't you know you're just a talentless wretch with terrible potential?" Laszlo curled up in pain, banging his head against the ground. He wished he could die from regret, but he couldn't bear to die. He returned to his sister's side once more. Unsurprisingly, it resulted in a brutal beating. "Don't want me, want to follow Isla instead. Do they even want trash like you?" The older sister cursed angrily while viciously swinging her whip. I leaned against the window, listening with great interest to the distant sound of whipping. Orson entered the room with light footsteps. He held out a vibrant bouquet of flowers to me. The dim room came alive with this bunch of flowers. He asked, "Do you like it?" He happily placed the flowers in the vase and eagerly massaged my shoulders, not forgetting to pledge his loyalty. "Master, you've given me a new life. 5. I will always follow you and obey your words. On the way back to Phoenix Manor, Orson had already told me about his story. Due to bloodline limitations, he was unable to take human form for a long time. His parents abandoned him. If I hadn't refined his bloodline for him, he would have remained an ordinary fox until death, living in a daze. If lucky, he would die of old age. If unlucky, he would be killed by natural predators. Because of me, he cultivated to take human form, pouring all his passion into me. How ironic it seems. In my past life, I treated Laszlo so well, only to be repaid with his betrayal. Now, with just a casual bloodline refinement spell, Orson has become utterly devoted to me. Gazing into his sparkling eyes, I took Orson's hand. I asked softly, Orson, what do you want? Perhaps I could try being kind to someone again. Orson's eyes rolled. Master, will you give me anything I want? I thought for a moment. It depends. If he wants my heart again, I'll never share half of it with him anymore. Such foolishness. Once is more than enough. Orson's face gradually turned red. I want my master. Orson grew increasingly uneasy, yet stubbornly maintained eye contact with me, fingers gently twirling around my hair. After a long while, I slowly nodded. Orson's alluring fox-like eyes were filled with joy. Thank you, master. He scooped me up in his arms. I gasped and grabbed his arm. Only when I pinched the flesh on his arm did I realize Orson was just deceptively lean. His muscles were quite firm. And, as it turned out, Orson was not only physically solid but also remarkably strong. For 5 consecutive days, he clung to me every moment, gazing at me with those moist eyes. I couldn't bear to refuse, but I truly couldn't take it anymore. I had no choice but to hide away. Never expected to see Laszlo the moment I stepped out. He was very flustered. Isla, I accidentally hurt Tamsin. Could you go check on her? If Phoenix King finds out about this, he'll definitely kill me. Orson ran out, grabbed my sleeve, and shook his head at me. Master, beware of deception. Laszlo glared at Orson and continued to plead with me. Isla, you can ignore me, but Tamsin will always be your sister. I seemed to be swayed by his words. After a moment's hesitation, I nodded. Laszlo gave Orson a provocative smile. Orson ignored him, sticking close to me without a step between us. The sister's room was in complete disarray. She lay on the floor with her back to the door. Orson urged me to hurry and save my sister. However, the moment I stepped into the room, my sister suddenly jumped up from the floor. Laszlo was the last to enter, closing the door behind him. Countless spiritual energy short swords appeared above my head. If they were to fall, they could pierce me like a sieve. My sister's eyes were full of excitement, yet also some concern. Laszlo, can this sword formation really kill her? Laszlo was confident and extremely certain. This is the immortal slaying sword formation, capable of destroying even a great golden immortal. I know about this sword formation. In a previous life, Laszlo obtained it from a secret realm. In my leisure time, I even helped him refine and perfect it. Never did I expect he would ultimately use this sword formation against me. I curled my lips slightly. Laszlo said to his sister, you and Isla are sisters bound by blood. Kill her, absorb her golden core, and you can continue your cultivation. Then, he turned to me with a bitter smile. Tamsin, you have only yourself to blame. If it weren't for you standing by and watching me get used as a blood bag by the Phoenix King, I wouldn't have wanted to kill you either. His helpless tone made it seem as if I had forced him to kill me. I laughed in anger. Laszlo activates the sword formation. Spiritual energy daggers rain down like a torrential storm. Master, Orson panicked and rushed forward recklessly. He grabbed hold of me, trying to shield me from the countless daggers. Run, as the words fell. A short sword pierced through his shoulder. I never expected him to step in front of me. With mixed emotions, I sighed and summoned my spear. The god of war spear manifests, its murderous aura radiating outward. The spiritual energy dagger vanishes without a trace in an instant. 6. I grip the spear and sneer. Did you think I earned my title as god of war through child's play? You think this mere sword formation can kill me? Wishful thinking. Laszlo refused to believe the scene before his eyes. This is the immortal slaying sword formation. I leveled my spear, unleashing the aura of a war god. How could there be an immortal slaying sword array in a world without immortals? It's merely a more powerful spiritual energy sword formation. This minor realm I'm in cannot withstand the pressure of an immortal's might. Therefore, once ascended, one must leave this world, never able to return. With my left hand supporting Orson, I swung my right hand. The war god's spear precisely pierced through Laszlo's shoulder. The sister turned pale with fright and tried to flee. Before she could turn around, she was already pinned to the ground by the god of war's spear. When their father rushed over upon hearing the news, he saw Laszlo and his sister skewered together by the long spear. The father wanted to vent his rage. The god of war spear swayed slightly. The elder sister cried out in pain. Father's face twitched. But he wisely suppressed his anger in the end. He pleaded humbly on behalf of his sister, Isla. Tamsin is still your sister after all. Please spare her this once. You're a mighty war god. Killing your own sister would tarnish your reputation. I lazily propped my chin on my hand. I can let her go, but it must be exchanged for the silver spear forged by my mother after I was born. My mother once forged a silver spear for me. Tamsin took a liking to it, so my father kept the silver spear, intending to give it to Tamsin. In the end, my father traded the silver spear for Tamsin's life. As for Laszlo, he's utterly useless, only fit to be his sister's blood bag. I no longer care whether he lives or dies. Return to my cave abode. I feed Orson a healing pill. He took the opportunity to hold my fingers. Master, you're truly amazing. His eyes sparkled with admiration for me. I ruffled his hair. Seeing that I didn't push him away, he immediately pushed his luck, pressing their entire body against me. Orson, why did you take the sword from me? Afraid you'd get hurt. His voice was muffled. You already have enough scars. I don't want to see you get hurt again. I pursed my lips and wrapped my arms around his waist. Orson looked puzzled. Master, why not leave this place? You clearly don't like it here. I replied softly. Something has been suppressing me. I need to deal with it. That day, my father summoned me to his cave abode. As I approached the entrance, I saw a fox tied up in the corner, like a watchdog. It was Laszlo. Now, he doesn't even have the right to shapeshift into human form in front of his sister. Father prepared a sumptuous meal. He smiled kindly and kept putting food on my plate. Sister sat aside, pouting in grievance. Dad, why are you only serving food to little sister? Father glared at her, telling her to behave. The elder sister grew even more aggrieved, her eyes turning red. In the past, Father would have already comforted her with pity. Today, he didn't have time to attend to it. I could patiently watch my father play the loving role. Father, I've been fasting for years. When I was little, I really enjoyed eating. However, I was not favored by my father, nor did I have a mother's care. The meals sent from the kitchen were very perfunctory. They tasted terrible. When I complained to my father, I was instead scolded by him. Seeing this, the kitchen gradually stopped sending me meals when sent to the demon-slaying battlefield. There was even less to eat. Gradually, I lost interest in anything edible and only consumed fasting pills. Father could no longer maintain his act of paternal kindness. He stated his purpose with a cheerful laugh. Isla, your sister's true form is a golden pheasant. Can you help her refine her bloodline to transform into a phoenix? My sister, forgetting her grievances, stared straight at me. Father's face darkened as he suppressed his anger. If it's because Tamsin has repeatedly offended you, I'll make her kneel and apologize to you. I only ask that you help her for the sake of sisterhood. My sister immediately tried to kneel before me, yet her hands gripped the table, and her knees refused to bend for the longest time. I ignored her unnecessary theatrics. Father, the bloodline tempering method can only be used on those capable of cultivation. Father was puzzled. Tamsin can cultivate too. She even formed a golden core. I extended my finger and shook it. Sister could do it before, but not anymore. She's a cripple now. Her golden core is shattered, I said gloomily, and it was shattered by Father's own hands. Father froze in place. Sister covered her mouth and ran away crying. Father's gaze darkened, his eyes filled with murderous intent toward me. He took a deep breath, suppressed it, and hurried after sister. Orson held my hand. Master, don't be sad. I smiled at him. I'm not. My heart that yearned for paternal love had long been dead. Orson didn't believe me and tried every way to comfort me. He asked me what I liked to eat. I thought for a long time but couldn't come up with anything. He personally cooked a whole table of dishes and had me try them one by one. Master, take your time eating and choosing. His smile was so warm, gradually filling the emptiness in my heart. My spirit pet keeps finding new ways to cheer me up, while my sister wants to kill hers. But my sister still needs Laszlo's blood, can only vent anger by beating Laszlo daily. Her father told her not to beat Laszlo to death, but she even resented her father for it. She screamed hysterically, if you had put more effort into me, I could have been great too. Now it's done. I'll forever be trampled under Isla's feet. How could a golden pheasant ever compare to a phoenix? 7. Father was so angry he stormed off in a huff. Having seen this farce, I lost all interest. I was reborn in this life not to be entangled with them. I want to leave for a while to clear my mind. Unexpectedly, on the day before my departure, a loud explosion suddenly came from my father's cave abode. Immediately after, the spiritual energy in the Phoenix King's residence went out of control and ran wild. I immediately summoned the war god spear to suppress the rampaging spiritual energy. By the time I rushed to my father's cave, his body was covered in blood. Father gasped heavily, your sister has gone mad. Following his gaze, the first thing I saw were the tail feathers belonging to a phoenix, dazzlingly brilliant. Looking further up, there was a completely naked chicken. In an instant, I understood in my heart. This creature with phoenix tail feathers but completely featherless on its body was my sister. She had used the bloodline refinement method on herself. Who would have thought that only the tail became a phoenix's tail, while the rest turned into a common chicken on mortal dining tables? Laszlo was pinned under his sister's claw, letting out faint cries for help. Save me, save me. His sister's eyes were bloodshot. Why can't I be reborn as a phoenix? It was you who plotted against me, wasn't it? I knew it. You were never truly loyal to me. The elder sister shifted the responsibility of bloodline refinement onto Laszlo. She opened her bird-like beak toward Laszlo, revealing rows of needle-thin fangs, sunk its teeth into Laszlo's neck in one bite. Laszlo's limbs twitched, his eyes filled with regret. Isla, if there's a next time, I coldly interrupted him. There won't be a next time. He could never be reborn again. The sister bit through Laszlo's throat, devouring his flesh bite by bite. The father approached. Isla, only you can save Tamsin now. His expression turned fierce as he swung the long sword. Orson was about to strike, but I reached out to stop him. I let my father's long sword slice off a piece of flesh from my arm. Father threw my flesh to my sister. Tamsin, quickly eat Isla's phoenix meat. The elder sister stretched her neck, opened her mouth, and swallowed the meat. Her aura surged violently as phoenix tail feathers fell off. Black feathers unexpectedly grew all over her body. She has gone mad. My sister flapped her wings and charged at me. I swung my war god spear, but my sister pinned it to the ground with her claw. Isla, you're no match for me. The father urged his sister. Stop the nonsense. Kill her quickly. The sister took flight, her bird-like claws wreathed in dark energy. As she soared into the air, the sky churned with wind and rolling thunder. With my hands forming seals, I gave a cold smile. My cultivation talent is even better than my mother's. The heavenly Tao fears the Phoenix clan gaining another ascendant, which would make them overwhelmingly dominant, so it has been suppressing me. Only after I slay 1,000,000 demons will the heavenly Tao release me. I've already exterminated all the demons on the battlefield. I'm just missing the final one. You've truly fallen into demonic ways. My days of waiting haven't been in vain. I stayed at the Phoenix Manor precisely for this day. My sister widened her eyes in shock and tried to turn around to flee. I summoned the silver spear my mother left me. A bullet pierced through the sister. The sister let out a shrill cry before her bird form heavily crashed to the ground. Tamsin. The father turned pale with shock. He lunged forward, but the moment his hand touched his sister, his eyes suddenly widened in shock, slowly lowering his head. He saw his sister's talon-like hand had plunged into his dantian. His sister roared with furious resentment. Back then, you abandoned me and mother just to serve a more powerful master. You keep claiming to love me, yet you've turned me into a useless waste while molding Isla into a war goddess. You deserve to die. Elder sister crushed father's life-core golden pill in her grip. Father never imagined he'd die by his daughter's hand, and blankly breathed his last. I sent my sister to her demise with a single shot, scattering her soul. I didn't even give her a chance for reincarnation. With my father dead, I became the new Phoenix King of the Phoenix clan. In the past, to make my sister appear more outstanding, my father secretly suppressed the talented younger generation of the Phoenix clan, causing the Phoenix clan to face a shortage of successors. I spent 100 years finally nurturing a group of talents. I selected the new Phoenix King and took Orson into seclusion for cultivation, without the suppression of heavenly laws. My cultivation advanced by leaps and bounds. After 1,000 years, I finally ascended to immortality. As I crossed the celestial bridge, I saw my mother waiting at its end. She asked me, "My child, do you resent me for leaving you behind when I ascended alone? I know you've always been watching over me. You gave me a second chance at life. In my past life, I resented my mother. But after being reborn, I understood my mother's choice. She was my mother, but more importantly, she was herself a brilliant and extraordinary cultivator. She didn't accompany me, yet she protected me in her own way. Divine elixirs, blood-tempering spells, silver spears. Before ascending, she left me many things. After ascending, she never stopped watching over me." The mother smiled with relief. She looked at Orson. "Is this your spirit pet?" I held Orson's hand. "Yes, he's very good." Orson smiled at me. Mother nodded. "As an immortal, your responsibilities are greater. The fate of all living beings rests on your shoulders. You must never slack off or act willfully." I nodded solemnly. "I'll be a proper immortal." Story 2. On the 10th day of the zombie outbreak, I rejected George's confession. Unexpectedly, he turned around and pushed me into the midst of the zombies. Then, holding his so-called dear younger sister in his arms, he said to me, "I've awakened my superpower. You, a burden, can get lost now." 01. At this moment, I was pushed out of the car by George and fell heavily to the ground. My entire back was stabbed by glass shards. The shadows of a large group of zombies appeared around me, and I could only watch helplessly as he and Layla drove away. There was no time to be angry about their betrayal. I told myself that I had to stay calm, especially at such a moment, while holding my breath. I gripped the stun gun in my hand tightly and my gaze fell on the stairs of the overpass not far away. I had exhausted almost all of my physical strength in the previous battle. Moreover, these zombies had clearly evolved compared to those a few days ago. They were much more agile in speed. Those that I had knocked down earlier actually all regained their mobility in a short period of time. Sweat dripped down my forehead and ran down my cheeks. I took out my phone, pressed the emergency call number, turned on the speakerphone, and with all my strength, threw it behind the zombies in the second before the ringtone rang. Beep, beep, beep. Some of the zombies immediately turned around when they heard the commotion and crouched on the ground in a strange posture, gnawing and biting. Taking advantage of this gap, I did a forward roll, jumped up, and severely struck the heads of the zombies with the stun gun. Then I quickly ran towards the stairs of the overpass. However, I couldn't match their speed. When I climbed onto the overpass, a group of zombies chased after me from behind. They let out ear-piercing roars, as if they were summoning their companions. As expected, all the zombies below looked up in my direction and then rushed up frantically. This was the second time I felt despair. The first time was when that brainless Layla opened the school gate on the third day of the zombie outbreak, causing some homesick students to run out. At that time, we only thought it was a virus similar to the one that appeared 30 years ago. I, along with several teachers who hadn't had time to leave, went out to get medical masks, protective suits, and other supplies. When we came back, there were already corpses lying all over outside the school gate. Blood flowed on the ground along their bodies. Those young faces were all filled with expressions of horror, and every pair of eyes was full of despair. The students in the teaching building were also frightened and hugged each other, crying loudly. We reported the situation to our superiors and received the reply that we should quickly dispose of the corpses uniformly. There were no extra words, which made it difficult for every teacher among us to accept. There were a total of 77 lives. At that moment, I suddenly began to doubt myself. Did I really have the ability to protect them? No, I was about to have the same fate as them. My arm was grabbed by a filthy hand. While my sleeve was being torn, another zombie took a bite at my neck. Just as I was about to bid farewell to this world, a searing heat burned my hand. The zombies in front of me let out howls and retreated one after another. Jump down, a voice came from below. Without thinking much, I jumped off the overpass and landed right on a jeep truck. The zombies on the bridge jumped down right after me. I was stuffed with a machete in my hand and swung it without hesitation. Attack their heads. Second, keep using the flamethrower. Fourth, quickly lower the speaker. The car made a sharp turn and I almost fell out. The man beside me pulled me and raised the flamethrower, spraying flames at the zombies beside the car. Eardrum-piercing rock music blared from the speaker, and the zombies behind us were attracted by it. Only then were we able to escape smoothly. Let me introduce myself. My name is Jason, Eleanor. We shook hands, and only then did I notice that the back of my hand had blistered, and there was also a distinct pain in my ear. Sorry, it was a last resort. Thank you for saving me. Compared to these minor injuries, my life was more important. The car made several twists and turns and finally stopped at a popular online check-in place in the city, a luxurious villa. Unlike what it looked like online, the outside of the villa had been reinforced layer by layer. The electric fence was visually more than 5 meters high, and the gate was bulletproof. My heart sank. Today, I went with George and Layla to pick up the bulletproof door and the electric fence. After getting the goods, I asked the two of them to go back first. George offered to go with me to pick up vegetables and flour. After leaving the flour mill, we encountered zombies. George, who was originally powerless, suddenly became fierce and took down a zombie with his bare hands. At that time, I was still in the car. When he was at a disadvantage, I stepped on the gas pedal and knocked down the zombie in front of him, and Layla came back at this moment. She was so scared by the scene in front of her that she was frozen in place. Seeing that she was surrounded by zombies, I could only get out of the car to save her, but I didn't expect that after she got in the car, she directly closed the car door. And that scumbag George actually told me that he had awakened his superpower and left me there to die. Eleanor, coming quickly, Jason and the others also went out to look for supplies today. I took the box of instant noodles from his hand with one hand and found that there were obvious bloodstains on it. There were about 40 or 50 people in the villa, and children of kindergarten age accounted for more than half of them. When their parents entrusted them to us, they had already been bitten. My heart felt heavy, and I blurted out involuntarily, July 15th. On that day, a female student I was in charge of didn't die immediately after being bitten. She held my hand and said, "Teacher Eleanor, tell my mom that I will always love her." Although her pupils had already dilated, she kept shouting, "Mom, Mom." The man in front of me looked surprised, and then showed a suspicious expression. Second, fourth, come over for a review, the others take care of the children. The man's name was Isaac, he looked good, but he was very cold. It was him who was driving and giving commands just now. He was the leader of these people, Jason was the second, and the one who dropped the speaker was the fourth, James. These two were twins, but they didn't look alike at all. Jason was relatively more cheerful, while James was taciturn. The zombies today seemed to have mutated again. Jason pulled out a writing board, on which the situation after the zombie outbreak was clearly marked. On July 10th, a series of people in the city suddenly fell into a coma and died during the process of being sent to the hospital for treatment. On July 14th, the corpses that hadn't been cremated in time suddenly came back to life and were aggressive. Characteristics: they bite people, move slowly, have no vision, and weak hearing and sense of smell. On July 15th, those who were bitten by the zombies had symptoms of mutation but didn't die immediately. They even still had some personal consciousness. On July 16th, their mobility increased. They still had no vision, their hearing and sense of smell were the same as ordinary people's, and they had no remaining consciousness. On July 17th, after being bitten, they completely lost their consciousness and would immediately attack living people. On July 20th, they had very strong speed and attack power and would chase living people relying on their sense of smell and hearing, and they're afraid of fire. Jason added 2 more words at the end: they can call for their companions. I hesitated for a moment but still told them about my situation at that time, and from July 17th until today, the streets have been unnaturally quiet. That's because the government carried out a unified destruction of the zombies, James blurted out. True. But these zombies today aren't the same as the previous ones. How do you know? Isaac looked at me. Because I saw some of them this morning. It was at the bulletproof door factory area. That uncle was a comrade in arms of my father. Before I left, he even said that he would ask my father to treat him to a drink in the future, and I, with my own hands, smashed his head with a shovel. The streets have been very quiet these past few days. Yes, that's why we went out to look for supplies today. James was taken aback for a moment. Do you mean these zombies were artificially cultivated, James? Isaac stopped him. After looking at me, he stood up. Let's eat first. Jason, can you lend me your phone? Jason glanced at Isaac's back and secretly stuffed his phone into my hand. The password is 9527. I dialed the phone number of my student, Julian. The other end picked up the phone quickly. It's me, sis. The other party was very excited. Are you in a position to talk? I'm eating. Sis, Teacher George found a lot of food for us, and we're all together now. There's something wrong with George and Layla. If anything happens, you can call this number. Got it, sis. I will definitely listen to the teacher. How's home? I'm fine. Don't tell them I'm still alive. Take care of yourself. Okay, sis, you take care of yourself too. Julian was a smart kid. This phone was my old phone. I gave it to him after the zombie outbreak so that he could contact me conveniently. When I went out in the morning, he offered to go with me, but I left him at school. He was a repeat student and the oldest child in the classroom. He had strong organizational skills. It happened to be Friday on the day we discovered the intrusion of the abnormal virus. Some students were gradually picked up by their parents. I wasn't at school at that time. It was him who asked the school guard to lock the school gate and then assisted the other teachers in taking the students to the highest floor. I was very relieved to leave him at school. After that, I ran into George in the corridor. He took out a rose folded from colored paper from behind his back and said to me affectionately, "Eleanor, I like you, be my girlfriend." I rejected him. In fact, today was the 5th time I had rejected him. He wasn't angry, though. He just muttered disappointedly. Failed again. It seems I still need to work harder. You're going out, right? I'll go with you. Your injury is healed. I remembered that he fell and hurt his arm when he went out the day before yesterday. It's all right now. Considering that the other few teachers had worked the night shift last night, I agreed, and he suggested taking Layla with us, on the grounds of making up for his previous guilt. Now it seemed that George was already acting strangely at that time, in the past. I didn't believe in the awakening of superpowers, but now that zombies had appeared, I couldn't help but wonder if what he said was true. After stuffing some food into my stomach casually, I went to the room Jason mentioned to rest. As soon as I entered the door, I sensed something was wrong. A strong gust of wind blew towards me, even though I had been trained by my father since I was a child. I still had some difficulty dealing with it. The other person was very powerful. As soon as we fought, he punched me in the chest. Despicable. I was burning with anger in the dark. After grabbing his clothes, I suddenly kneed him upwards. Well, he blocked it with both hands. My body involuntarily fell backward, and the next second, I was held by his long arm. This was the moment. I leaned forward and bumped into him. This time, I succeeded, but I also felt dizzy. He let out a muffled groan and released me. I quickly took the opportunity to leave, but unexpectedly, I tripped over something, so When the lights in the room turned on, I found myself lying right on top of Isaac. That guy Jason looked at a loss and fled out. Before leaving, he said, "I saw nothing. You two continue. 02, come back." Isaac probably had just taken a shower, his hair was still wet, and he had changed into a set of home clothes. From this angle, his face seemed to be red. Was he blushing? I gave him a glare and quickly got up. Jason backed in, wearing a mischievous smile. "What do you want from me?" Isaac asked. I just came to tell Eleanor that you're in the room." Looking at his ambiguous expression, I suspected that Jason had deliberately not told me that Isaac was in the room. "I'll go out first, you two talk." I subconsciously pressed my slightly painful chest and looked up to meet Isaac's unnatural gaze. "You stay. I'll go sleep in Jason's room." "No need. I don't like sleeping in a man's bed." It wasn't that I was being finicky. This was a normal reaction. Isaac gave me a strange look and took out a phone from the drawer and handed it to me. "It's for convenient contact." I was a bit surprised. "Do you plan to take me in all the time? We saw today that you were abandoned by others." His words stirred up a storm of emotions in me. I raised my hand and wanted to punch him. Jason was quick to react and grabbed me. There were too many zombies at that time, and we weren't sure if you were an enemy or a friend. The third one was, Jason. Isaac interrupted Jason. "I had a rough idea of what happened. So you were deliberately testing me just now?" I asked. "Yes." I suddenly thought he deserved a punch. I sneered and punched him in the chest. Isaac looked at me in surprise, and a complex emotion flashed in his eyes. After the little episode just now, the feeling of depression in my heart seemed to ease a bit. I walked to the window and looked outside at the pitch-black darkness. If it were a normal day, at this time, the city should be brightly lit. I thought of our old man at home. He called me a few days ago to tell me he was safe, saying that a friend had sent him a lot of food and that he could stay at home for half a year without any problem. He was someone who couldn't stay idle. I was afraid he would run around, so I promised to go on a blind date after this disaster was over. I also remembered that George wasn't actually a teacher at our school. That day, he went to find Layla. They had known each other before and even became sworn siblings. When he confessed to me for the first time, he said that he had admired me for a long time and that he had watched all the martial arts competitions I participated in. Although he seemed gentle and refined, I always felt that he wasn't as mild as he appeared on the surface, because there was ambition in his eyes. Meow, meow. A few meows brought me back to my senses. I was about to go back to my room to rest, but suddenly, the barking of dogs I heard when I went to pick up the bulletproof door and the growling of dogs at the flour mill flashed through my mind. There have been a lot of dog thieves recently. "My little black dog is gone." The words of the guy at the flour mill echoed in my ears. "Yesterday," Julian said, "the stray cats that the school took in have all disappeared these days." "They probably went to look for food," George said. "Teacher Eleanor, if we run out of food one day, would you have the heart to kill animals to satisfy your hunger?" A chill rose in my heart. I hurriedly followed the sound to look for it and finally found one at the corner of the stairs. "This is Isaac's cat. It's very obedient." The one who spoke was the woman who took care of the children during the day. If I remembered correctly, her name should be Violet. "Does he like small animals?" "No. He doesn't. That's why I've been taking care of it." Seeing my confusion, she added, "I heard that the girl he had a crush on liked small animals, so he got one. They were originally going to meet, but unfortunately, the disaster came. That's really a pity." I examined the cat carefully. After confirming that there was nothing abnormal, I turned around and went back to my room. I hope I'm just overthinking. I was awakened by a commotion at 4 a.m. in the hall. Jason was organizing the children to go out, and several people in military uniforms were standing at the door. Violet came to say goodbye to me, saying that she was going to send the children to a safer place. "When the disaster is over, I'll treat you to skewers." "Okay." I hugged her with a smile. Suddenly, she pushed me, and then there was a piercing meow. The cat was covered in blood. It bit Violet's arm, and the next second, it turned around and bared its teeth at me. There was Violet's flesh and blood on its teeth. I was so angry that I punched it in the head. After the cat was knocked to the ground, it twitched a few times, then turned its head and got ready to pounce on me again. "It has mutated. Eleanor, don't move." Something flew past my ear and firmly pierced the cat's abdomen, but it wasn't dead yet and frantically lunged at me. The soldier beside me had no choice but to shoot. The cat fell to the ground after being shot in the head. I quickly went to check Violet's injury. She covered her wound with a look of despair. "Eleanor, if I turn into a zombie, you must kill me. I know the others can't do it. That won't happen." Blood kept gushing from her wound. Her pupils slowly dilated, and her eyes turned grayish-white at an extremely fast speed. The children were already crying from fear. Jason looked at me anxiously and decided to let the children leave first. "Several ferocious dogs have appeared outside. Prepare for battle." Isaac ran downstairs. It was he who had shot the cat with a tranquilizer gun just now. Violet, hold on. In response, there was a growl from Violet. After being bitten, she was extremely strong. She directly grabbed my shoulders and tried to bite me. I desperately broke free and picked up a nearby chair and smashed it at her. Although I'm not related to Violet, I really can't bring myself to kill her. But my instincts compelled me to fight back, and I couldn't bear to look at her. Since the zombie outbreak, I've been filled with hatred all the time. I hate where this virus came from. I hate that I don't have the ability to protect the people around me. I saw the machete that Jason gave me yesterday. While I was struggling internally, I had already swung it at Violet's neck. The battle lasted almost an hour. The children were evacuated safely, and although the others were exhausted, fortunately, no one was injured. Where's Violet? Gone. Why didn't I see her at the main gate? Jason asked me weakly. I glanced at him and turned to go upstairs. The fire in the backyard was still burning. I saw Isaac and the others walking over. James knelt on the ground and kowtowed 3 times, then looked up in my direction. There was accusation in his eyes. I couldn't face them. I put down the phone Isaac gave me and prepared to leave. Violet is James and Jason's cousin and also the fiancé of the third one, before he died. The third one asked me to take good care of her. Isaac's voice was desolate. At first, we also wanted to do our best to save those strangers, but they pushed the third one out. We made an agreement that we wouldn't save people easily anymore, except for children, but when we saw you being abandoned that day, we still rushed over without hesitation. What are you trying to say? I turned back to look at him. Actually, most of our decisions are just based on instinct. So you don't have to blame yourself. Even if you hadn't done it, one of the 3 of us would have had to. Perhaps we should even thank you. Stay. Isaac stuffed the phone back into my hand. I wanted to say something to him, but my throat felt as if it was blocked by a stone. Finally, I made peace with myself, went downstairs, and started cleaning the blood on the ground. Otherwise, zombies might be attracted by the smell. Eleanor. It's your call. Jason suddenly came over. I thought it should be Julian. Teacher Eleanor. A stray cat got into the school, and several classmates were bitten. George is acting very strangely. I saw him injecting himself with something, and then he defeated several zombies on his own. Me and the classmates ran to the top floor and locked the door. Teacher Eleanor, don't come back. There was a lot of noise on the other end, and Julian was out of breath throughout. Julian, Isaac asked. Are you Julian, brother? Take care of yourself. We're coming to save you right away. Don't come, brother. The school gate has been opened, and we can't escape. The call suddenly cut off. I was extremely anxious, and Isaac looked grave. We have to go back. We must go back. 03, Eleanor. Hide behind me later, on the way. Isaac said to me very seriously. There were emotions in his deep eyes that I couldn't understand. The school gate was wide open, and we could faintly hear screams from inside. There was a haze of smoke on the top floor. We parked the car in a hidden place and the 4 of us walked in with our backs to each other. The air was filled with the smell of blood. When we reached the corner of the stairs, a person suddenly appeared in front of us. It was a girl from the next class. She bared her teeth at us. Before she could let out a scream, Isaac smashed her head with a stick. My heart trembled, and my nails dug deeply into my palm. There were 7 or 8 zombies wandering in the corridors of the 2nd and 3rd floors, and the rest seemed to be locked in the classrooms. Isaac made a gesture of encirclement to us. 3, 2, 1. Each of us dealt with 2 zombies, and we solved them smoothly. Blood dripped onto the ground from the tip of the machete. I tried my best to turn myself into a machine. A machine that forgets they were once my students. The zombies in the classrooms started to growl, and the sound of chaotic footsteps came from upstairs. Not good. Hide quickly. There happened to be an empty classroom, and the 4 of us immediately hid inside. Taking advantage of this break, I continued to text Julian. Still no reply. What about climbing up the outer wall? Jason suggested. James, I'll do it. Isaac. Be careful. Don't worry. We've had training, Isaac said specifically to me. I wanted to say that I wasn't worried about James' skills, but I was afraid he would be scared by the zombies in the classroom. As expected, what I feared happened. The head of a zombie poked out of the window on the 4th floor. James was startled, loosened his grip, and fell. Isaac grabbed his hand in the nick of time. This commotion caused the zombies on the 2nd floor to growl, and some stretched out their hands to grab his feet. Jason. Seems this method won't work, James. If it doesn't work, let's use fire. I'll distract them, and the 3 of you go up. I didn't want to waste time here. No. Isaac grabbed my wrist and quickly let go when he realized it was inappropriate. I'm familiar with the terrain here, and I have the obligation to protect them. If I'm destined to die, I hope I die a meaningful death. When those parents called and pleaded with me to protect their children, I had already anticipated this day. I don't want to be the only one left alive. I would rather die than live like that, okay? Isaac suddenly hugged me. Eleanor, be careful. I didn't look back at him. I hit the guardrail hard with the machete, and the zombies on the stairs swarmed towards me. I took advantage of the terrain and ran wildly on the campus. Unfortunately, at the dormitory building, I was blocked by the zombies in front of me. I gripped the machete in my hand tightly. Brother, you'll bless me. Right, I had a brother who died while protecting others. I seemed to hear his answer. There was a determination in my eyes that I had never had before. To my surprise, George saved me when I was in a desperate situation. The veins on his arms bulged, and his face was contorted. Eleanor, why aren't you dead? Since you're not dead, of course I have to live. He was probably angry because he saved the wrong person, but now, we were in the same boat. If you dare to plot against me again, I'll drag you down with me even if I die. You're still so naive. But you really underestimate my strength. As if showing off, he punched a zombie's head and blew it with his bare hands. Is this the superpower he mentioned? What do you think? Awesome, right? He kept moving his hands. Except for being a bit out of breath, he said. Who else dares to look down on me now? I didn't bother listening to his nonsense. I attacked him while staying on guard. George managed to smash the heads of dozens of zombies in less than 10 minutes. When there was only the last one left, he gave me a sinister smile. Eleanor, can I leave this one for you? Before I could react, he had already grabbed my neck. This speed was far from that of an ordinary person. Before I die, can I ask you a question? You want to ask about my superpower, right? He looked very proud. Yes, how can one awaken it? Beg me then, go to hell. I glanced at the top floor and closed my eyes. Resigned to my fate, when I opened my eyes again, my eyes were clear. George, I beg you, Eleanor, you've finally come to this. Weren't you always so arrogant? You rejected me so many times when I confessed. Weren't you so high and mighty? But now, you're at my mercy. He threw me to the ground like trash and then punched the last zombie to death. I won't kill you. I want you to watch with your own eyes how I rule over all of you. What do you want to do? His eyes were very dangerous, of course. I'm going to release all the zombies in the school and deal with them, otherwise, where else can you take them? Did that mean there were still students alive? Perhaps seeing my confusion, George dragged me up again. His sticky hand stroked my cheek. Eleanor, don't you want to protect them? Be my slave, and I'll fulfill your wish. What? I can make you awaken your superpower too. My heart skipped a beat, but I said gently on the surface, okay. I followed George all the way to the 5th floor. There was a dense crowd of zombies there. George waved his arms like an indefatigable machine and easily dealt with them. It would be a lie to say I wasn't shocked, but I knew that the current George wasn't normal. When the door on the top floor opened, bright sunlight came in. Julian and the others were all there, and so was Isaac. Eleanor, come here. He watched George warily. Who are they? George asked. This is my brother and his friends. Julian was still a child after all. His eyes were red, and there were still tears on his face. The classmates huddled on the ground lit up when they saw me. Teacher Eleanor, you're finally back. A female student rushed over and hugged me. Teacher, I'm so scared. Don't be afraid. I comforted her. From now on, no one needs to be afraid. I'll protect you all, George said loudly. And your teacher Eleanor, she's my girlfriend now. There was a moment of silence. Eleanor, Isaac called me. Yes, I've agreed to be George's girlfriend. I looked at Isaac and said each word clearly, to be his girlfriend. 04. George put his arm around my shoulders and kissed my cheek with his foul-smelling mouth. Isaac took a step forward but was held back by Jason. Jason forced a smile and said to me, Congratulations. George proposed killing all the zombies in the school, but Isaac objected, arguing that the remaining students shouldn't be put at risk. I can handle it alone. George was very confident in his strength. Eleanor, what do you think? I looked at the remaining 69 students in front of me, feeling extremely desolate. I agree, Teacher Eleanor. Julian looked at me disappointedly. Let's use electricity. It's too dangerous for you to go alone. I didn't want George to take the risk alone. If he died, who could I ask about the superpower? Eleanor, are you worried about me? George looked pleasantly surprised. Yes, I stared into his eyes. I want you to stay alive. He looked at me with a half smile and then laughed loudly. Okay, since everyone trusts me, I'll do it without hesitation. We left the weaker students on the top floor and split into several groups to set up the plan. In fact, the so-called plan was to use the weather forecast and the conductivity of water. As it was getting dark, it finally started to rain. Isaac and George took the lead and lured the zombies out of the teaching building. I took out my phone to record. George said he wanted to document his glorious moment. I watched Isaac fighting with the zombies, listened to James swearing, and felt the frightened gazes of the students around me. The moment I pulled the switch, George pushed Isaac into the midst of the zombies, just like he did to me that day. Damn it, Jason was so anxious that he wanted to go down, but I stopped him. Then we saw George pull Isaac back again, and his speed was extremely fast. His push and pull seemed to be teasing the other person. The electrocuted zombies started to twitch, looking very ridiculous. But there were also a few zombies that moved towards George and the others with clear targets. After about 10 minutes, I pulled down the switch, and George and the others began to fight back. With this combat power, is he still human? Jason exclaimed. George is so amazing. It seems that superpowers can really be awakened. The students who were crying just now had now boldly moved to the railing. They seemed to have seen hope. Compared with George, Isaac was much less impressive, but as an ordinary person, he was already very good. Julian, have you seen Teacher Layla? Teacher Layla said she went back to the dormitory to get something in the morning. Teacher Eleanor, why did you agree to be George's girlfriend? Julian was a stubborn child. What do you think? I have to admit that I'm a vulgar person. I'm just a bit disappointed. I smiled and patted his shoulder, then turned and went downstairs. Layla's dormitory was on the 3rd floor, and mine was on the 4th floor. We used to have some friendship. We would go shopping and have meals together in our free time. Although she was a bit melodramatic, she was a decent person. Sure enough, disasters really bring out the true nature of people. I stopped in front of Layla's dormitory door. The door was slightly ajar, and it was very quiet inside. I kicked the door open, and a figure rushed out from behind the door, probably intending to attack me. My skills were good enough to deal with an ordinary person. I turned her around and pinned her to the ground. George, save me. It was Layla's voice. I pressed her head hard against the ground and rubbed it until she cried and begged for mercy. Don't kill me. I know how to defeat the zombies. Really, she probably recognized my voice. Eleanor, is that you? Eleanor, weren't you dead? It's too cold down there. I came up specifically to have you keep me company. No, please don't kill me. I'll burn a lot of paper money for you. Okay. Your death has nothing to do with me. She was so easily frightened that she had wet her pants. Disgusting. I got up and turned on the lights in the room. You're not a ghost. What do you think? I grinned at her and knocked her out with a punch. There were bottles and jars on the table, along with syringes. My first thought was that Layla had the nerve to engage in illegal activities, but looking at her wet pants, I thought it was unlikely. Just as I was about to take them away for study, a sharp pain shot through my neck, and my body involuntarily fell to the ground. Eleanor, why don't you just die? She kicked me several times and then started rustling around to change her clothes. If it weren't for the fact that this injection affects fertility, Layla, could also become a savior. That bastard George thinks he's so amazing, but he still has to please others, and he talks about superpowers. Haha. The apocalypse is all fake, and superpowers are nothing. The apocalypse is fake. I rubbed my neck and asked, of course, if no one deliberately released the virus, where would this apocalypse come from? Is that so? I grabbed Layla by the neck. Although I had suspected it before, I still didn't want to believe it. Cough, don't kill me. Well, it depends on how sincere you are. 05. When we got back to the teaching building, all the zombies had been eliminated. Isaac was kneeling on the ground gasping for breath, while George shouted confidently towards the top floor, don't be afraid, classmates, all the zombies have died, you are safe. Looking at his confident appearance, I really wished I had a gun in my hand to blow his brains out. Safe, trapped in this small place, can we really survive the disaster? The answer was no. George, I picked up the coat he had dropped on the ground. Are you hurt? How could I get hurt? Where did you go just now? Where's Layla? I asked him. His face darkened, and he grabbed my hand with his blood-stained one. Why are you looking for her? I didn't hide my disgust. She locked me out. Of course I want to get even. George laughed. This is the Eleanor I know. Don't worry. I'll take you to see her later. I hope you don't forget our agreement. I didn't fully trust him. Are you two done? Can you hurry up and clean up the bodies? Everyone from the top floor had come down. James looked at George and me with a bad expression. I was on the front line. Now it's your turn. With that, he pulled me towards the office on the 1st floor. After closing the door, George washed his face first and then leaned back in the chair, looking a bit tired. Eleanor, come and give me a shoulder rub, will you? George, when are you going to fulfill what you promised me? He closed his eyes and leaned comfortably against me, his wandering hand covering mine. Don't be in a hurry. Let me rest for one night first. I suppressed my anger and was about to go out and help the others, but George grabbed me, and I fell onto his lap. Eleanor, if you want to gain power, shouldn't you show me your sincerity? A chill slowly crept up from my abdomen. I closed my eyes, resigned to my fate. 06. What are you doing? The door was kicked open from the outside, and Isaac appeared at the door, looking furious. What a buzzkill. George slapped my thigh, flexed his wrists, and looked ready for a fight. Taking advantage of him turning around, I stabbed the syringe filled with anesthetic into his neck. He turned around and punched me as soon as he felt the pain. It hurt badly. Then he kicked me away. Isaac, stop him. A stream of warm blood flowed down my forehead, carrying a faint smell of blood. Isaac didn't hesitate and started fighting with George. Seeing that George was only a bit slower, I knew the dose wasn't enough. Gritting my teeth against the pain, I joined the fight and gave him another injection of anesthetic. Jason and James rushed over when they heard the commotion. After exchanging a glance, they helped tie George up. You two go out and don't let anyone else come near here. We'll interrogate him later. Isaac and I looked at each other, and he spoke first. You only agreed to be his girlfriend out of necessity, right? Yes. He knows the truth about the zombie virus outbreak. What? Isaac was shocked. He had thought I was just trying to deal with George and had to compromise because of his abilities. I stuffed George's mouth with a smelly sock. Even though he had been injected with anesthetic, he was still conscious. Not wanting to waste time, I pressed my machete against his neck. Tell me what this so-called awakening of superpowers is all about. Fear showed in his cloudy eyes, and he nodded repeatedly. I took out the sock from his mouth and turned on the voice recording on my phone. I actually came back from the future. I was born with superpowers. There's a price to pay for spouting nonsense. I stepped on his groin, and Isaac beside me flinched and sat up straight, pressing his legs together. It hurt so much. George took about 3 minutes to recover, with cold sweat breaking out on his forehead. I'll tell you everything. Should have done this earlier. George's story was short, but I was filled with anger after hearing it. He had borrowed money from loan sharks because of gambling, and the person who lent him the money told him there was a way to avoid repayment by doing certain things at a specific time. For example, on July 10th, he went to a crowded place and spread the virus. On that day, George came to our school and treated some students to drinks. Before that, he had appeared as my suitor, and the students, who still believed in love, were easily touched by his actions. They were a large organization, spread out all over the country. After the initial virus outbreak, they would upgrade it according to the infection situation and then release it again. That's why the zombies kept evolving. The government took swift action, so on July 20th, they chose to use animals to speed up the spread. Did they want humanity to be destroyed? Apparently not. Otherwise, why would they develop drugs that could mutate human bodies? Give me the list of those people. I'm just a small fry. How would I know that? I didn't believe him, so I stepped on the same spot again. I felt a sense of satisfaction listening to his cries. What do human lives mean to you? George grinned, his eyes glowing with a strange light. Eleanor, don't you think the world needs a reset? We work from dawn till dusk, and our bosses can decide our fates with just a single word. We work our butts off to earn money, only to spend decades of our lives paying off a house. Why should others decide our lives? Why should they have control over our fates? You're just stupid. I really wanted to crack open his skull and see if it was filled with nothing but nonsense. You have no ability but still have wild dreams. You just want something for nothing, and that's why your life is meaningless. So I want to become the strongest. I want to rule over them. I want you all to submit to me. Aren't you the same? You offered yourself to me just to get superpowers. I didn't want to listen to his nonsense, so I stuffed the smelly sock back into his mouth. Superpowers? Are you out of your mind? Look at the mess you've become. I took out a small mirror from my pocket and made him take a good look at his hideous face. Haven't you ever thought about the side effects of this drug? You probably won't live long enough to see the day you're looking forward to. It doesn't matter if you don't talk. Tomorrow morning, someone will take you away for research. Every inch of your skin will be cut open, and every drop of your blood will be drawn out. You brought this upon yourself. George whimpered for a long time, but I ignored him. Isaac was clearly shocked by the news and asked me if I had noticed something was wrong earlier. I just told him that I believed in science. Science made me disbelieve in superpowers, but since they existed, it meant someone had deliberately created them, push humanity to the brink and then appear as saviors. The original authorities would be questioned, and those with ulterior motives would take the opportunity to rise to power. Just like the disaster 30 years ago, George kept shaking and even foamed at the mouth. He couldn't die, or he would lose his value. When he spoke again, he was still annoying. No, Eleanor, don't send me for research. It's useless. The zombie virus has already broken out, and the world is about to end. Keep me here, okay? I can help you kill zombies. I can protect you. With what? I patted his cheek. With the injections that you had Layla hide in the dormitory. How do you know? What did you do with my stuff? If he had even asked about Layla, I would have thought he was still a man. What do you think? George probably guessed that I had taken his things. He turned to Isaac and said, "Dude, don't you want to be stronger? Don't you want to stop being bullied? Kill this woman. The stuff she has can make you a hero. Isaac showed some interest, stood up, and walked over to me. Is it really with you? My heart sank, and I replied expressionlessly, so what if it is? Are you really going to kill me? The man pursed his lips, and his face darkened. My life is yours now. Are you crazy? I told you to kill her, George shouted, and in response, Isaac punched him hard. He passed out, and the office finally fell silent. Don't tell anyone about this. Protect yourselves, don't you want it? I asked him. His face turned red, and he glanced around. It's too soon, and this isn't the right place, so he really wanted to be stronger. I gave him a look of disdain. Aren't you afraid of ending up like George? Did he touch you? What? His eyes were terrifying. He grabbed my wrist and pulled me into his arms. Isaac, what are you? Let's kill him. Okay, I won't tell anyone. I'll protect you from now on. I felt like we had misunderstood each other. Calm down, nothing happened between him and me. I just lured him in and then attacked. Isaac stiffened for a moment and then asked me seriously, then what you said earlier about wanting, well, I have no interest in those injections. Good, it was all cleared up, but I felt a strange heat spreading through my body, and my face was burning. We locked George in the room and had dinner with the remaining students as if nothing had happened. During the meal, a classmate asked about George. I just told them he was too tired and needed to rest. Isaac and I were waiting for George to be taken away the next day, but unexpectedly, a figure entered the office in the dead of night. 07, Teacher Eleanor, something's wrong. George has escaped. Just as dawn broke, Julian brought the bad news. I immediately checked my backpack and found that all the injections I had taken from Layla the day before were gone. The girl who had rushed into my arms for safety the previous night, Audrey, was also missing. She even left me a note. Sorry, Teacher Eleanor, I choose to follow the strong, thinking of the rice porridge she had brought me before going to bed. My heart sank to the bottom. How ironic. The people I risked my life to protect had finally betrayed me. I locked myself in the room and didn't open the door no matter how much Isaac and the others called. Isaac came again at dinner. They're in the building across the way. If you want all your students to fall into the clutches of a wolf, then keep wallowing in self-pity. George was being extremely arrogant. To win over more students, he openly challenged me. When I got to the campus, some students were already standing behind him. Your teacher Eleanor only wants to become strong herself and doesn't care about your lives at all. She just wants you to follow her blindly so that you can become food for the zombies when the horde comes. As he spoke, he played a recording. How can I awaken my powers? George, I'm begging you. Immediately, the children who had been standing by my side all gave me strange looks. Their eyes seemed to say, so this is the kind of person you are. Disappointment and disdain were like a rope tightening around my neck, and no matter how much I struggled, I couldn't break free. It's different with me. I can make all of you strong and free from fear. I promise that as long as you follow me, you'll see your parents soon. As soon as he said this, an arrow whistled through the air and directly pierced into the display board next to George. I trust Eleanor. Isaac had somehow appeared by my side, followed by the Jason and James. Me too. She led us here to save you. Don't be deceived by George. Everyone, don't you remember how Teacher Eleanor has treated us? Julian came out to defend me. We haven't forgotten, but we just want to survive. What's wrong with that? Audrey looked at me with red eyes. Teacher Eleanor, I really want to go home. She had always been a timid child and rarely spoke even during PE class. Unexpectedly, her words hit everyone where it hurt. George gave me a provocative look. Next. I'll show you how to awaken your superpowers. As soon as he finished speaking, George dragged someone out from behind him. It was Layla. Her mouth was taped shut with transparent tape, and her hands were tied behind her back. George took out a syringe and injected it into Layla's arm. In just a few minutes, Layla, who had been weak and powerless, immediately stood up from the ground. Yes, stood up, because she had been lying face down before. Her hands, which had been tied behind her back, also broke free from the restraints in an instant. George, go to hell. Layla kicked George, and the two quickly got into a fight. See, this is power. This is superpower. George, am the real hero who will save you all. The two fought fiercely, and in the end, George emerged victorious. You clearly know that this drug has side effects. If they take it, they may not live long enough to see their parents, but it's better than waiting to die here. Isn't it? There was madness in George's eyes. He wants everyone to die with him. Isaac comforted me, pressing my shoulders. I'll always be with you, Eleanor. You can't stop us. Look at this. He pointed at the phones in the hands of several male students and said, we've been live streaming the whole time. My heart jolted. I quickly took out my phone and checked, only to find that the live stream was on almost all platforms, and it wasn't just George. All his accomplices had transformed into so-called saviors, using the internet to mislead the public. Eleanor, join us, let's redefine the order of this world. The seductive voice echoed through the campus. I watched helplessly as more and more people walked towards him. It seemed like an eternity passed before I heard myself say, "Okay, 08, Eleanor, don't go." Isaac held my hand, and the worry in his eyes was almost overwhelming. Isaac, it's my duty to protect them. And I can only keep my promise by becoming stronger. Pushing Isaac away, I walked towards George. With every step I took, I could hear Isaac's angry shouts. "Eleanor, you've really disappointed me. Have you forgotten what you're loyal to? I thought you were like him." "Shut up." I turned back and glared at Isaac, finally revealing the pain hidden deep in my heart. "You have no right to mention him. Don't forget, he died saving you, Isaac. I've wanted to kill you since the first moment I saw you. I once had a brother who loved me. He was a soldier. He sacrificed his life to save a playful boy, and that boy was the young Isaac. So, I recognized him the moment Isaac saved me. Isaac, we're even now." It started to rain heavily. Through the curtain of rain, I couldn't see the expression on Isaac's face clearly, but I knew he must have regretted saving me at that moment. The live stream continued, and the comments were polarized. Some people cursed me, while others said such a choice wasn't shameful in the face of the apocalypse. If it were me, I'd be willing to sacrifice myself as long as I could protect my family. Agreed. Eleanor, welcome to join us. George held out his hand to me, but pulled it back as I got closer. You have to show some sincerity. He handed me the syringe. Eleanor, once you inject it, there's no turning back. Isaac was still shouting. Without hesitation, I inserted the needle into my arm. A feeling of suffocation washed over me, and I staggered to my knees. I never intended to turn back. I gritted my teeth and retorted at Isaac, then began gasping for air. George seemed very satisfied with my performance. He took the wine from Audrey's hand and started drinking heartily. "Come on, let's welcome your teacher Eleanor together." Audrey came up to me and said, "Teacher Eleanor, our decision was right. But I still won't forgive you." She looked at me in surprise, then smiled and took a few steps back. "Eleanor, I thought you had more backbone." In response to Layla's mockery, I simply said, "Once you've been a lackey for too long, you forget how you used to walk on your own. How dare you abuse me?" Layla was enraged and raised her hand to hit me, but George slapped her instead. "Go and get ready. Eleanor, don't be angry, let's go have dinner first, and then we'll help the children awaken their superpowers." He turned his back to me and started walking towards the cafeteria. When we sat down, George suddenly said, "You know, Eleanor, I almost thought you were lying to me again. Do you think I have any other choice?" He smiled triumphantly, and I was so annoyed that I ate 2 extra bowls of rice. The crucial moment arrived soon, and this live stream was even more widely spread. I could feel that George was extremely excited. He injected himself with 2 more syringes in a row. "Now, it's time to witness a miracle," he boasted to the children in line, and that's when I stabbed a super concentrated anesthetic into his neck. George turned to look at me in disbelief. "Eleanor, you lied to me again." "Yes, I did, and now it's your end. I'll kill you." George erupted in anger and turned to attack me. "No, I'll kill you." This time, I had no more scruples. Every punch landed solidly, and every move was a deadly one. I had been waiting for this moment for too long. "I knew you bitch wanted to be the savior yourself. Classmates, come and help me. If I die, no one will take you home." But no one dared to move, because they heard Isaac say, "Look at George now. Doesn't he look like a monster? If you take those drugs, will your parents even recognize you when you get home?" These are the people who created the zombie virus. They're the ones responsible for this disaster, and their goal is to make us complete slaves, to live our entire lives in suffering and separation. Is that really the life you want? Then Isaac played the videos recorded by the parents of the surviving students. Every cry in those videos was a glimmer of hope for the students to turn back. Don't listen to their nonsense. Eleanor injected the drug herself, and she's still fine. That's because teacher Eleanor didn't actually take the drug. Audrey stepped forward. It was all just a plan between me, teacher Eleanor, and the others. Only Layla's injection was real. I gave Audrey a thumbs up, while George was stunned. I punched him again. "George, haven't you noticed that you don't have much strength left? Because I've already destroyed all those drugs." His expression cracked little by little, then turned into boundless anger as he charged at me. I took the opportunity to pull out the fruit knife hidden in my clothes and slashed at his neck. I missed my target and only wounded his chest. George's face contorted with rage, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. "Eleanor, you forgot we have many more people. You may be able to kill me, but you can't kill them all. My brothers and sisters will continue the plan to destroy the world." "Really? Then take a look at the live stream. From the moment we started suspecting George, We had made comprehensive plans. We asked Audrey to get close to George and encouraged them to live stream their so-called salvation, and revealed the unknown secrets between Isaac and me to intensify the conflict. Then we contacted the government troops and used the live stream to locate and capture them all at once. Even if some managed to escape, we could still deal a blow to their forces and let the public know their true nature. Fortunately, we succeeded. Upon learning the truth, George's face turned ashen, and he completely lost his will to fight. He started babbling nonsense and scratching at his body. "It itches so much, Eleanor, save me." Then, in front of everyone, black blood oozed from his body, and he turned into a decaying corpse. Audrey ran over and hugged me excitedly. "Teacher Eleanor, I was wrong. I shouldn't have disobeyed you, originally. Our plan was to send Julian to infiltrate George's group, but Audrey found out," she said, "compared to a strong boy. A vulnerable girl who misses home is more likely to be trusted, isn't she?" I was worried about her safety and didn't agree, but she went ahead on her own. The sentence she deliberately said to me earlier was a signal that the positioning was successful. Our decision was right. I hate these bastards who spread the virus. How could I ever collaborate with them, whether it's a virus or a war? It's always the most vulnerable people at the bottom who suffer the most. Jason and his brother were calming down the students, while Isaac walked straight up to me and hugged me. He knew who I was from the moment he saved me. We tacitly pretended not to recognize each other and tried to forget those dark days. My dearest brother, his most respected senior, died saving him, and I couldn't face him anymore. Although we were only close as children, I often heard his name from my brother in the following years. My brother always said that Isaac was a great prospect for the military and that he would take me to have a meal with him someday. Unfortunately, what I got instead was, "Eleanor, let's get a cat. I remember you used to like them. Okay, watch out." I had forgotten about Layla, the menace. When I saw her stab at Isaac with a knife, I instinctively pushed him away. The moment the knife pierced my skin, I seemed to understand something. Isaac held me in his arms, at a loss. He desperately tried to cover my wound, but blood gushed out through his fingers. "Isaac, don't blame yourself. I just did it out of instinct, because I cared about him. When danger came, I didn't think twice. All I wanted in that moment was for him to be safe." My brother must have felt the same way back then. 09. Audrey's perspective. At that moment, I suddenly began to doubt myself. Did I really have the ability to protect them, although the source of the virus had been effectively controlled? Zombies were still rampant in various places, and began to spontaneously form rescue teams. Isaac, as the organizer of the local team, had been away for a week. Looking at teacher Eleanor, who was still unconscious in the hospital bed, I told myself to be strong. Everyone was terrified when teacher Eleanor suddenly collapsed. Fortunately, the live stream was still on, and several doctors risked their lives to rush to the school. Along with them came wave after wave of zombies. In that critical moment, we junior high school students picked up weapons and swore to protect the people we cared about. Just as teacher Eleanor once said, "I didn't teach you martial arts just to keep you fit. It's more about cultivating your fighting spirit. Only by becoming strong through your own abilities can you protect the ones you love." After seeing teacher Eleanor defeat George with her own strength, everyone finally understood that anything obtained at the cost of harming oneself would eventually backfire. Teacher Eleanor, wake up quickly. I heard that Isaac has been confessed to by several girls. If you don't wake up soon, he might be snatched away. Just as I was about to go get some water to wipe teacher Eleanor's face, a weak voice came from behind me. "Are you so gossipy at such a young age? Do you want me to reward you with some test papers?" I turned around in disbelief and saw that teacher Eleanor had really opened her eyes. After that, my classmates and I secretly saw Isaac, who had rushed back overnight, crying his eyes out while holding teacher Eleanor in his arms, so unmanly. And then, when we were caught peeking, each of us was rewarded with a set of test papers. 10. On the 83rd day of the zombie virus outbreak, Isaac led the team out again. Actually, my physical strength has almost fully recovered, but they still don't feel at ease with me going along. Layla's ending was something I didn't expect. She actually committed suicide after stabbing me. The reason was that she thought she had lost her fertility after taking the drug and had no future. I suddenly thought she was ridiculous. She was always chasing after things that were out of reach and forgot to love herself, looking at the rising sun in the distance. I know that although the road ahead is long, as we stand together, our wishes